Today I'm going to be ranking every single episode of Regular Show Season 5 from worst to best. And this is part 5 of my 9-part series of ranking every single episode in Regular Show from worst to best. And Season 5 is honestly perhaps the beginning of the downfall a little bit. Yes, there are still a ton of good episodes, but compared to Seasons 1 through 4, there are a lot of just misses here. Like a lot of episodes that are honestly just forgettable, and some I would even say are just plain bad. So I'm going to look at all of them, looking at the comedy, the story, the fights, every single aspect of every single episode, making sure each of them gets plenty of time to shine, and ranking them all from worst to best. And if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to me, lift that arm up, press that button, because I make regular show content just like this almost every single day, including Adventure Time, Gumball, movies, and gaming every now and again, and you don't want to miss it. And I'm throwing in a little bonus. If we get me to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, that's a pretty good amount of time, I will do one of these videos, but I will cosplay as either Pops or Muscle Man, and I'll do something crazy with it, something super surprising. But either way, yeah, there's a lot of content coming up, you don't want to miss it, and without further ado, let's rank every single episode of Regular Show Season 5.
Bass!
And some people play the conga.
But I'm about to play
This chimichanga.
And starting off this list at number 37, it has to be the episode Wall Buddy. And this episode pisses me off for a lot of reasons, but mainly its portrayal of Mordecai and Rigby is just so annoying. It makes Mordecai look super dumb, and this is just the worst of Rigby that you could possibly get, especially in Season 5, where he's not supposed to be a 26-year-old toddler anymore, but in this, he reverts all the way back to like he's 2 years old, and he's a baby, and he can't handle any form of reality, and it makes me so angry. The episode actually has a pretty good opening, with Mordecai and Rigby going to get chimichangas.
Turn up the treble,
Turn up the bass.
cause I'm shoving guacamole
All up into my face.
chimichanga.
I love how they chant chimichangas. That's just the best way you could possibly do it. But then you have Benson searching for his phone. He hears his ringtone, and he learns that it's in Mordecai and Rigby's room. And, well, he goes in there, and it's just a goddamn pigsty. Rigby is a raccoon, after all, and he is just a dirty little hoarder. He just has so much garbage, all of this trash littering the room. I wouldn't be surprised if some of it is literal shit. I don't know what all this stuff is, but it's bad. So Benson finds all of his stuff. He finds his phone. He's disgusted. So he orders Mordecai and Rigby to clean that room or they're fired. And Mordecai immediately just throws Rigby under the bus, but it's honestly pretty valid.
Well, Mordecai's even worse. Look at all his junk in the corner.
Dude, that's my bed.
He's all like, well, it's not my mess, it's all Rigby's. And Rigby just acts like he had shot with a gun here, like it's the worst thing that he could have ever heard. His mother just died because Mordecai tells him to clean up his mess, which is all his. It's perfectly valid. The room is split down the middle, and you could clearly see Mordecai's side perfectly clean, spick and span, and then you have Rigby's, which is literally a place where, 36 hippies were partying for 2 weeks straight. It's bad. It's not good. So that's what the episode's going to be about. Rigby has to try and clean his mess, and he keeps failing over and over again because he's lazy. He tries to stuff it all in a closet. That obviously doesn't work. He's just a baby, so he eventually gets Wall Buddy. Wall Buddy separates all of the trash and moves it all over to Mordecai's side, which also pisses me off, because, first of all, I get it, Rigby's supposed to be, this, horrible, lazy character who doesn't want to get anything done, but then he decides to make it all Mordecai's problem by just separating the room, and they argue with Wall Buddy for a little bit, moving the trash from this side to this side over and over again. And Wall Buddy just can't handle it. He can't handle any more of their bullshit, so he just starts tweaking and going everywhere, spreading walls everywhere all over the park, creating mass destruction.
And now, back to Carter and Briggs Bust Russia.
All right.
And Mordecai and Rigby have to stop him by pressing this button on him, and Wall Buddy is defeated. That's great, good, but then we just get to the end of the episode where it's just like, I'm mad at you, Mordecai. I'm so mad at you because you just threw me under the bus. We used to do everything together. We used to be a team. Like, dude, what? He does do everything with you. He's fought monsters with you. He's had to fix the park with you on multiple occasions. But this one time where it's genuinely all of your garbage, you're going to be mad that he doesn't want to take your side? Just this one time, dude? Come on, man. It's so annoying. And then the worst part of it all is that Mordecai forgives him. And he's all like, you know what, dude, you're right. This is our mess. We'll clean it up together. And Benson's screaming at them. He's like, who's gonna fix all this damages? And Mordecai's like, we'll do it together, man. We're best buds. We're hashtag besties again. It's just so dumb. It makes the audience feel dumb. It makes your main characters look dumb. There's just nothing enjoyable about it. And Wall Buddy as a premise, as a villain for the episode, if you want to even call him that, it's not even that interesting. It's just a wall that just starts spreading everywhere. It's just not that great. So Wall Buddy, bottom of the list because it ruins the main characters, and just the premise is just not that good, and it does not have a very good conflict. It's just honestly boring, and it makes me hate my main characters.
Don't do anything you're gonna regret. Don't do it!
And then coming in at number 36, it has to be the episode Laundry Woes. And this is the start of the season, the very first episode of season 5. And when you compare it to the start of season 4, Exit 9B, yeah, it's already off to a pretty lackluster start, if I'm not going to lie to you. And this episode is fine. I understand why it exists. I mean, it had to exist. We needed a follow-up to how Mordecai was feeling after Steak Me Amadeus, after Mordecai dumped him, after she left him and abandoned him, and Mordecai was super sad. We needed a follow-up, and I actually enjoy the follow-up that we get at the beginning, with Mordecai just being super sad, and then everybody from the park just comes together to help him get back to his normal self, helping him to work out, get back to his job, to shave, to just be back to good old Mordecai. And then where the episode just takes a turn for me a little bit is he's doing laundry for some reason. He never wears any clothes except on super special occasions, but either way, he's doing some laundry, and he sees a pink sweater. And upon seeing this, any normal person would be like, oh, that's my ex's sweater. But no, Mordecai's like, oh, Margaret.
Don't do anything you're gonna regret. Don't do it!
And this just, drives him to just go into full seeing Margaret mode, and he decides that he's going to drive all the way to her college, 4 hours away, just to give her the pink sweater, just to do a nice, kind, friendly gesture, not for any ulterior motives like asking her to get back with you, getting down on your knees and begging her to have her back in your life. And Rigby obviously sees right through this, so the entire episode, Rigby is trying to just help him see the error of his ways. Being a good friend, being somebody who would want to help you, perhaps. And Mordecai just doesn't care about any of this. He just has to give that sweater to Margaret. So we get Rigby and Mordecai driving all the way to that college, Rigby tagging along, trying to talk him out of it. He even throws the sweater out of the car, and the universe just, I guess, wants Mordecai to see Margaret again because a cop picks it up and brings it back to him. So Mordecai's even more fueled to go do this because the universe even wants him to get a little bit more Margaret. So Rigby just keeps on trying to talk him out of it, and eventually Mordecai's like, you know what, dude? You're not even my friend. Even after Rigby is giving him one of the realest talks ever, even if he's being mean, you need your bro to be hard on you and tell you the truth. Mordecai decides when he hears this to shove him out of the car and leave him stranded on the side of the highway like 30 miles away from the college.
That's it.
And Rigby, he's a good friend. He's even going to start just sprinting there, just still trying to get Mordecai not to do this. And Mordecai's like, yeah, oh gosh, I can't wait to see Margaret. And that's when a clothed version of Margaret forms up and is telling Mordecai oh yeah, you don't need that loser Rigby. Yeah, you just need to go and see Margaret and give her the sweater. And that's when Mordecai for some reason decides that he's going to talk himself out of this, because for some reason Rigby telling him for the past 24 hours that this is a bad idea doesn't compare to a piece of clothing that looks like Margaret all of a sudden coming up and whispering in his ear yes, Margaret.
The sooner you give Margaret the sweater, the sooner she'll quit school and be with you.
Yeah, for some reason that breaks him, and they get into a little bit of a fight, and Mordecai crashes the car. He sees Margaret, and he's all like, Margaret! And he runs over, and he decides, oh, well, this entire journey wasn't worth it. I'm just going to throw it in the trash. And he throws away the sweater, and then he leaves. And Rigby's all like, dude, I'm so glad you didn't do that. And he's like, I'm sorry. God, this is moments where I wish that Rigby was as tall as Mordecai and could just punch him in the face and just give him a good old right hook, because he deserved it. You just abandoned your friend on the side of the highway. And to be honest, I just don't like the way Mordecai acts in this episode. That's why I rank it so low. It's more understandable why he's acting this way, because the girl that he loves did just dump him, the girl that he's been in love with for years. I get it. I understand why he's going through all this. I understand why he wanted to bring the sweater back, but it doesn't make it more enjoyable of an episode. And as a regular show episode, the main conflict, the main thing that's anything but regular is just a piece of clothing coming to life. Yeah, didn't do a whole lot for me, and I just find this episode to be boring, and it's not one that I would ever seek rewatch.
Dude, CJ's way cooler than Margaret.
And coming in at number 35 is I Like You High, and yes, we're getting a lot of the relationship episodes out of the way at the beginning of this list, because a lot of them are just boring. I will say season 5 does have some good ones with CJ here and there, but the majority are just why am I watching this? I just don't care. It's great for Mordecai's character, but overall, it's whatever. I mean, you know how I feel about all the relationship episodes, but this one is It's honestly just fine. Definitely not something I would ever want to rewatch. It's just some plot stuff. Nothing even crazy happens in it. The episode is all about how Mordecai and CJ have been hanging out a whole lot, having a great time together. And Mordecai's just texting her about this TV show with this awesome guy named Yuji. The only problem is that he's going to say, I like Yuji, and he says, I like you, hi. So Mordecai's like, oh no, I can't believe I just sent this text. I'm 24 years old and I just sent this text to this girl saying, I like you, hi. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? Rigby, what am I gonna do? And CJ just says, I like you too, hi, because it's not that big of a deal. All he said was, I like you. But Mordecai goes into full-on panic mode, and he has to find a way to fix this immediately, or else his life is going to be over. So they get the brilliant idea on how to fix this, and the best way to do that is to go and find this guy Yuji, go to his signing, and take a picture with him, so that it looks like he was saying, I like Yuji, and he could fix everything, because it has to be this entire elaborate plan. So he eventually finds Yuji, and Yuji is very sad, because nobody wants to ever come and see him, because every time people try to find out about Yuji, it just comes up as, I like you hi, or you hi. So his entire fame is just nothing, even though he's a really cool TV personality, because everybody just sees Yuhai instead of Yuji. Yeah, feel bad for this guy. I actually like Yuji a lot. I think he's one of the highlights of this episode. He's just, I don't know, he's very weird. I like him. He's enjoyable.
Stupid phone! I can't even say my own name! Oh, I hate myself!
And so Mordecai and Rigby eventually convince him to go up on the roof and take an awesome picture together, but it doesn't work out, so Yuji grabs the phone, and he just keeps on spam texting CJ, trying to, get this all fixed, and they accidentally send 3 texts back to back, which takes them into the, phone inside of it, and we get to be with all those, phone icon people again, from the butt dial episode. Yeah, they weren't on my bucket list for characters that I wanted to see again in the show, because I already think they're kind of boring.
Oh, hey, our band put out a demo tape.
Oh, cool.
It's sort of an ambient prog rock fusion.
But yeah, they're in this world now with all these different phone gods or whatever they are, and they're all like, oh, hello, Mordecai, why didn't you get our text about being in a band? And Mordecai's like, oh, my bad, guys, my bad. But either way, all we really get from this, nothing that interesting happens. All we get from this is Mordecai secretly waiting for Margaret to come back.
Part of me is still waiting for Margaret to come back.
Daddy's girl.
That's why he hasn't asked CJ out. And then Rigby says what probably every single other person in the entire audience was thinking while watching this episode. Dude, CJ is way cooler than Margaret. Yeah. So that's why I hate that Margaret comes back and we get all this Margaret stuff later, because I thought that this one sentence would just say, hey, Margaret was a really lame character, maybe we're just going to go a different direction, but now they have to bring her back and do all this nonsense later on. But either way, that's the big thing about the episode. Mordecai's waiting for Margaret to come back, and then they have this big old talk about how Mordecai should ask out CJ. They get out of the phone, Mordecai's all like, let's go on a date, baby. And then, yeah, that's the entire episode. As a regular show episode, nothing really happens. He sends a bad text, he freaks out about it, to go and get a picture, he gets sucked into a phone, nothing even that interesting happens inside of the phone, there's nothing even crazy, there's no real, tension, there's no real, world-ending plot, there's no villain, there's just nothing, it's just boring. It's just a boring regular show episode. It's not one I would want to rewatch, and when you already have 3 episodes on Season 5 that I wouldn't want to rewatch, it's a little bit worse than the past 4 seasons, because what am I supposed to do with this? I don't care about these episodes very much.
How'd it go?
I got her digit!
And coming in at number 34 is the episode New Year's Kiss, and oh boy, it's another relationship episode, starting off this list strong, and the episode is all about how Mordecai asks this girl out for her phone number, this girl with some, snake hair, yeah, it's really weird, but he gets the digits, and he's all like, let's go to the New Year's party together.
How'd it go?
I got her digit!
And at the same time, Rigby talks to the bathroom version of himself. Yes, the bathroom version of Rigby comes out of the toilet to talk to Rigby and tells him that this kiss cannot happen by any means. So the entire episode is about Rigby trying to stop Mordecai from getting this kiss. And I actually think all of the stuff with Rigby talking to his past self is actually a lot of fun.
Just me. I mean, you. Look, I'm you from the future. What the? Were you in the stall the whole time? Gross, no?
Just their interactions are all pretty good throughout the entire episode. Rigby trying to stop him initially is pretty good, where he just throws away the phone number, they get in an argument. All of it's pretty good. It's a pretty good start to the episode, but overall, just once they actually get to the New Year's party, it's just kind of boring. It's just more of the same stuff over and over again, where Rigby just keeps going to the bathroom, talking to his past self, and just keeps trying to get advice on how to stop this from happening. But Mordecai is just blinded because he's like, what could possibly go wrong? And Rigby is eventually given this clock that could stop time for 60 seconds, and he uses it right before the New Year's kiss is about to happen. I like all this stuff with Muscle Man here because he's trying to streak during the New Year's party and he's just taking off his clothes in slow motion. It's funny. Pops is opening a champagne bottle. Just lots of good stuff in those moments, and just a lot of good tension as Rigby's trying to beat the clock and trying to stop this kiss, and he eventually shoves Mordecai out of the way of this woman, but it turns out that it wasn't Mordecai at all. It was just this guy that's wearing a Blue Jay like suit thing, or he's like half Blue Jay.
Did I make it? Get off of me, punk!
I don't know, but it turns out that the girl that Mordecai asked out was just using Mordecai to try to get back at this other guy. So yeah, feels bad for Mordecai, and then Rigby's all like, well, I guess I did it. I saved the day. And that's when Mordecai runs into CJ, and they're just talking, and they just smooch it up, and they take off their masks, and they're like, CJ, Mordecai! And CJ runs away, and that's the end of the episode.
CJ?
This episode is obviously just to set up the fact that Mordecai and CJ are eventually going to come back together in some way or another, and CJ is going to become a, like, reappearing character, because without Margaret, they immediately have to fill that hole and just put another girl in Mordecai's path. And it's just honestly so annoying, because you could take all these great episodes and make a really cool premise, because I love the episodes of Regular Show where crazy stuff happens with super awesome villains, with all these crazy plots that start off as just a regular day and then turn into one of the most crazy things you've ever seen. I love plots like that, but when you just have all of these grounded episodes all the time with just these minimalistic plots, like, yeah, Rigby talking to his future self who gives him a clock that could slow down time, that's weird, that's anything but regular, but overall, when you compare it to a lot of Regular Show episodes, that's honestly just like nothing happening. And this episode feels like nothing happens all the way up until that kiss, and then you're like, oh wow, I can't wait for an episode where it's just, oh, do we like each other? Are we gonna like each other? Do we want to be liking each other? Oh my gosh, should we kiss? Yeah, we're gonna get another one of those, and I'm not about it. I want crazy Regular Show episodes, not the same thing over and over that lead to the same exact things.
You're good, you're good. Bad, you're bad!
And coming in at number 33 is the episode Tent Trouble, and honestly, I think we're getting to the point of the list where I'm not going to be hating these episodes as much as the other few, but still, this episode is honestly just mediocre. The episode is all about how Mordecai and Rigby accidentally destroy CJ's brand new tent, so they have to find a way to scrounge up enough money to replace it before CJ gets off work.
You're good, you're good. Bad, you're bad!
What?
Too far, pull up!
Okay, we got a good premise going here, and I really love the entire scenes of Mordecai and Rigby going around trying new different jobs because Benson won't give them any work. They go to a restaurant and they burn it down. They try to do stuff at a golf course. It's all pretty good. It's all pretty funny. I enjoyed that part of the episode a lot. But then we get to the actual meat of the episode, the actual chunk, where they find a way to make a lot of money, and that includes wrestling Starla and Starla's sister, Peggy. Okay, so, we think we're going to get a good battle between them. No, it's really just 5 minutes of Mordecai and Rigby getting destroyed by these two big green women. And it's fine for what it is, I won't lie, it's pretty entertaining just watching them get destroyed this entire time. Starla and her sister are just absolute monsters in that ring, and I really like Benson here because Benson is just having the time of his life. Skips is all like, man, they sure look like they're taking a lot of damage, and Benson's just like, they sure are.
That looked pretty painful.
Sure did.
Benson is having a great time, but Mordecai and Rigby definitely aren't, and they just get destroyed and destroyed and destroyed, and they don't even end up, beating them or anything. They just get basically hospitalized and their bones broken. That's just Starla and Peggy just destroying them the entire time. No, climax, no, hero moment where they're able to, scrounge up a way to beat these two big women. They don't do anything. They just get pummeled the entire time, and they do this, tornado twin sister thing and just unleash just nothing but suffering. But because Mordecai and Rigby didn't quit and are technically still standing at the end, they get the money. Yippee! That's the entire episode. It's fine for what it is. I think the last half of it's pretty entertaining. We get some good stuff in the middle with them trying new jobs out, but overall, just nothing too crazy. It's just not an episode that I would really seek to rewatch again, and that's a problem with a lot of these episodes. I feel like just nothing really hooks me and makes me go, "Wow, that was amazing."
I think you're better than all of these guys here.
And coming in at number 32 is the episode Dodge This. And I think this episode had a lot of potential to be one of the all-time greats in regular show. It could have been on par with Skip Strikes, a great just bowling episode with a lot of tension, a lot of stakes, but then they just turn it into a relationship episode, and it's not even a relationship episode that ends super cool. It's just a building episode. It's just a building block to will Mordecai and CJ reconcile their friendship and get together. That's all it is. It's just a building block for that, but the first 6 minutes of this episode, really solid. It's just them playing dodgeball. It's just Benson getting drunk off wings, being super enthusiastic.
I think you're better than all of these guys here.
And I love all of the dodgeball scenes that we genuinely get in here. I love all of the matches. I think it's a lot of fun going up against the magical elements, going up against Gene's Park guys in a dodgeball match. It's a lot of stuff, and they do a lot of good stuff of it with Mordecai's tornado move and then Rigby's Rignado. It's all a lot of fun. It's a very good start to the episode, but then it just gets so much worse after that, because the entire next half after we get to all that, Mordecai has to go up against CJ's team, and they eventually get to the final two. I actually like their match before it gets to the final two, and then the last 4 minutes are, we never had any problems with our past. We never, Mordecai never invited me to a movie and the same girl in a movie, and we've never talked about it in years. We didn't do that, because they get summoned by this, dodgeball god council, and they have to, figure out why they can't hit each other with the ball. Yeah, it's honestly a super lame ending for what could have been such a good episode. I would have loved an episode that was all about awesome dodgeball matches. Maybe instead of making the magical elements the middle of it, maybe make them the main villain of the episode again, and Death, offers Rigby, I don't know, a dodgeball with souls in it or something. They could have just rehashed an earlier episode all the way back from season 2, and I would have loved it way more than this, because the entire ending is, we don't have a problem. Oh, we do have a problem? Let's maybe try and be friends again. And then CJ hits him with the dodgeball because they were able to fix it with the dodgeball gods, and that's about it. There you go. That's it. Just planting the seeds for Mordecai and CJ later in the season, which is fine if you want to do that, but there's so many episodes that are all about just building blocks. Let's just slowly build this relationship just so that it could all come crashing down in later seasons. And I just feel like they're just wasting so many potential, really good episodes. And this is an example of an episode that could have been really good if they focused it on the dodgeball aspect. It could have been so much fun, but just the back half of it is just ruined for me just because of all of this relationship nonsense.
What? No! I will not ask this woman for her phone number. Huh?
And coming in at number 31 is the episode Playdate, and I will immediately say this episode is honestly pretty enjoyable. It's pretty entertaining, but it has a few problems with it that I just don't really enjoy. I do actually like Mordecai and CJ here. I think they're bonding, I think they're having a good time. The episode is all about how they're going to go on a date for the very first time, and they get interrupted by Death, and they owe Death one, so they have to babysit Thomas one more time. So Mordecai and CJ have to babysit Thomas, and he's just causing a little bit of chaos. And I actually like Thomas a lot. I think he's just a menace. I think he's just a little troll, and he just tries to ruin everything, but he's 300 years old, so he's aware of everything that he's doing, but he still acts like a toddler, and I feel like it makes him a little bit more enjoyable as a villain. And so they're just trying to show Thomas a good time, trying to give him some ice cream. They're trying to just, have their date, but also cater to this little demonic monster, and he just keeps on ruining everything, every single thing that they're doing, so he's all like, take me to the underworld playground. So they go there, and Thomas is still trying to ruin every single little thing, and CJ says she's going to go use the bathroom, and that's when Thomas is like, you're never going to get anything with that woman, because that's apparently been his goal this entire time. It's not even to have fun or anything. It's just to ruin all of Mordecai's chances with CJ, and then he just does the most menace thing ever. He just stares at this big old praying mantis lady in this hellspawn of a world, and he's all like, Mordecai, no, I will not help you get this lady's phone number.
What? No! I will not ask this woman for her phone number. Huh?
That is despicable. And this makes everyone around them just find Mordecai absolutely disgusting because he's trying to use a child to get a praying mantis's phone number. And so the husband comes over and he's like, "You trying to pick up my wife?" And I actually like that Steve Blum is the one to voice this guy. I have so many problems with Steve Blum in the show because he voices so many random characters. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love that he does, but he's also the voice of Tecmo. And if he could voice all of these different characters, why didn't we get more Tecmo throughout the series? But either way, I'm not going to complain about it. And so this leads to a really big chase scene where CJ's ankle gets broken, they get back on the bike, and they have to drive away and drive out of hell. And honestly, the chase scene part of it was pretty good, pretty entertaining. But overall, this episode just didn't make me laugh a single time, which is pretty bad for a regular show episode. The plot was okay with them having to take care of Thomas. Some parts of it were pretty interesting. The little bits in hell were okay. Just the chase scene made up for it all. I like Thomas as a villain, but overall as an episode, it's just pretty mediocre. And there's definitely better ones at this list. That's why it's ranking as low as 31.
Not blowing hard enough. I mean, really blow.
And coming in at number 30, it's the return of the Mordecai and Rigby's. And I might get a little bit of hate for this one, but I don't really care. I just feel like this episode, to be called the return of the Mordecai and Rigby's, should have been so much better than it was. But overall, when you compare it to Mordecai and the Rigby's, this episode honestly just sucks. It doesn't have any memorable songs, and I feel like it's just forgettable. This episode has a really good premise to start off with, everybody just dying in the heat. Everybody's angry because it's just so hot out. It's the hottest days of the summer, so they have to find a way to win a brand new air conditioner and deal with that. So there's a battle of the bands coming up, and they all have to come together to sing a ultimate song to win a brand new air conditioner. And I actually like the beginning of this episode where they're just, trying to do all this band practice together. Benson is just losing his mind constantly. I like how he's just criticizing everyone. I think Benson is the main highlight of this episode.
Not blowing hard enough. I mean, really blow.
As well as Thomas, because Thomas decides to be the British band manager of the band.
Listen up, you lot! Mortal here has something to say!
Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, very weird, but they're all just trying to practice, and Benson is just kind of ruining it because Benson is just trying to be way too controlling. So they're like, let's kick Benson out. Benson finds out and he just gets even more angry. He quits the band, and then this leads to everybody going to the show tonight, and they're all just super angry, super pissed off. So they all quit the band, but they all decide to come back together for one final reconciliation, and they decide to play together. I actually enjoyed the beginning of this. I thought it was really funny how they go up there and we rock so hard, we don't even need instruments. And they all just start making the noises of the instruments. I thought that was pretty funny. And then they start singing the actual song, and I will say, keeping it cool, it's fine for what it is, but overall it's a pretty mid regular show song. It's definitely not one like Party Tonight that gets me hyped, gets me excited. It's just kind of whatever.
Keeping it cool.
It just it doesn't highlight J.G. Quintel's singing voice in any way. It actually kind of makes it sound even worse because I feel like it's very specific what he's good at singing, and this was just not one of them. Overall, visually, pretty cool. I enjoyed the visuals here, and they eventually get blown by this giant Mr. Blizzard guy, and I actually enjoyed the ending where Eileen explains that they actually just all passed out on stage and never sang anything or did anything because they all had heat stroke.
You don't even need instruments.
1, 2, 3.
Thought that was a pretty funny way to end the episode, but overall just nothing too memorable. It's definitely an episode where even if I see Return of the Mordecai and Rigby's, I have to think, what was that about? And then I remember and I'm like, that was kind of a boring mid-episode because I feel like they could have done so much better with it, but it was just lacking in a lot of areas, and that's why it ranks pretty low on the list.
Genuine zebra here!
And coming in at number 30 is the episode Video 101, and I will say there are a lot of aspects of this episode that I do enjoy a lot. The entire ending sequence is a lot of fun, but Mordecai and Rigby kind of ruined this episode for me just because of how annoying I feel like they are throughout the entire thing. The episode is all about how Eileen needs help making a video for her videography class because that's her final, it's super important, and she has no idea what she's doing. She has this big idea of all this stuff they could do, and then Mordecai and Rigby basically just hijack the entire idea, and some of the stuff that they come up with is honestly pretty funny, like genuine zebra head.
Genuine zebra here!
That was kind of funny, but overall they're just kind of being dicks, taking over her entire project, not even letting her edit it, not controlling any of the shots. They just keep saying, all of this stuff is going to work, Eileen, it's all going to do so good, and they stay up all night editing this video, and it just turns out to be complete and utter shit. It's so bad, such a horrible video. It's kind of funny when you're just like watching it like, what the hell is going on? What is this? How do they even make something like this? Yeah, but it's pretty bad, which leads to the awesome ending sequence that we get with just them dancing in so many different locations, and it just keeps editing to all these different locations in space, all this different stuff. And Eileen gets an A. The entire sequence of all the dancing and stuff, that was pretty fun. That was pretty enjoyable. But everything leading up to that was just me hating Mordecai and Rigby for taking over her entire project and being dicks about it and then producing something so completely and utterly horrible. But the ending makes up for it a little bit. That's why it ranks a little bit higher on the list. Initially, I was going to rank this episode much higher because in my mind, it was a phenomenal, great episode. But upon rewatch, it's just honestly not that great, especially as a regular show episode. Nothing too crazy even happens. It's just them making the video. They make it horribly, and then they do a little jiggy dance at the end, and that's about it. That's all that happens. That's why it's going to rank a little bit lower.
It looks comfortable, like my friend's diaper.
Hello, this is Kalos from the future. I'm editing this right now, and I just now realized that I said 29 twice, and I also messed up another number, so if the ranking when I'm talking about it isn't the number it's supposed to be, just pay attention to the actual title card. That number is the correct number for how it's supposed to be ranked on the list. Thanks. And number 29 is the episode Skips in the Saddle, and I feel like this episode just had really bad timing because, I mean, first of all, you have Skip's story in this season, which tells the story about Skip's ultimate romance, finding the love of his life and losing her, and then you have this episode where he is just super sad and wants to go out dating again, and I feel like if they did this episode maybe in a later season, like season 6, maybe season 7, or like season 4 even, it probably would have performed a lot better, and it probably would be remembered a lot better because it was just such bad timing. But I do defend Skips here. I mean, it's been 200 years since the woman that he loved, Mona, dies. So, you know, he's just sitting in his house, he's playing with cards, he's doing nothing because nobody could come to his game night. So he's super sad, he's lonely. Of course, he's going to want to get himself a fine-looking lady. And he's very bad at talking to women. Gary and the babies aren't able to help him at all because he's just so horrible. He hasn't done this in so long.
What do you like about it?
It looks comfortable, like my friend's diaper.
So Mordecai and Rigby set him up for this dating site. They lie about him just a tad, and he gets so many hits because, I mean, come on, he Skips. Who wouldn't want this big old beautiful Yeti man with his raging biceps and his big old pecs? Who wouldn't want him? He's big, he's huge, he's a nice feller, everybody wants him. So Skips gets invited onto this dating show because that's how many women are interested, and he has to use Rigby as a ventriloquist dummy because he doesn't know how to talk to anybody. And I just think that entire concept is really funny, which is Rigby dressing up, just sitting on Skips' lap and just saying all of these just like, you know, really cheesy pickup lines to get to these women.
And go to the planetarium, 'cause you surely belong with the other heavenly bodies.
And it eventually devolves into chaos when the other competitors, a centaur and a guy who likes t-shirts, get really angry and start causing chaos, and Skips has to save the lady on the show using his big old muscles, and she is just enchanted by these beautiful bulging biceps. I mean, just look at her eyes here. Yes, she's very hyped, and so her and Skips go on this beautiful vacation to Costa Rica or wherever, and it turns out that she was way too high maintenance. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire episode. Skips realizes that dating is a little bit hard for him, but I mean, everything leading up to that was honestly pretty fine, pretty entertaining. There was a lot of good moments throughout the episode. I thought, you know, Skips going out trying to like ask out these women was pretty funny, and then Skips and Rigby being a ventriloquist dummy, that was pretty interesting. Overall, just a fine episode, nothing too crazy, nothing too good about it. Definitely still not an episode that I would go back and rewatch willingly unless it was for a ranking video, because it's just not that interesting compared to a lot of other regular show episodes.
How did meatball gravy get on the doorknob, Rigby?
I was eating meatballs.
And coming in at number 28 is the episode Portable Toilet, and this episode just doesn't do a whole lot for me. I do enjoy that they took a minimalistic plot and made it into something super interesting. I love that aspect of regular show, but overall, compared to a lot of episodes in season 5, it's pretty dang boring to me. The episode is all about Mordecai Rigby hanging out with CJ and Eileen, and CJ bets Mordecai to eat a sandwich inside of a portable toilet, and Rigby has to be a witness, so they both go in there together. Mordecai's just slamming that sandwich, just talking about CJ, how she's actually pretty cool. Yeah, because this is still building blocks for them eventually getting together, because of course we need 18 episodes about will they, won't they in this season. And so he finishes the sandwich, and they can't open the door because apparently Rigby was eating meatball sub in there. It's always the goddamn meatball subs that cause so many problems.
How did meatball gravy get on the doorknob, Rigby?
I was eating meatballs.
But either way, they're now trapped in there, so the episode's about trying to get them out of there, and so they're stuck. So CJ and Eileen leave to go and get some tools, and I really like Muscle Man here because apparently he had a whole day planned where he was going to sit inside of this portable toilet and just enjoy himself there. And I want to just preface that a portable toilet, a porcelain throne, is very different from a just regular old porta potty, a regular old outhouse. This is a portable toilet that is for the divine, for the fancy people in life, and apparently Muscle Man is one of those people. And Mordecai and Rigby, when trying to get out of there, they accidentally knock it over, and when Muscle Man walks over upon seeing this, he calls the military, yeah. And a helicopter shows up instantly, takes away the portable toilet because it takes them to testing zones where they could use a giant space laser to destroy the toilets. Yeah, pretty dang crazy, and I really like when CJ and Eileen go back and try and open the door, and they open it super easily, and then it just cuts to Muscle Man just sitting there, just like, yeah, I don't know why he is like this. Muscle Man is such a interesting person, but either way, CJ and Eileen have to go and try and save Mordecai and Rigby from dying. They get there just in time. They're able to open the door, and they barely survive getting destroyed by this giant space laser, and the end of the episode is them just playing with it, and Mordecai being all like, yeah, CJ is pretty cool. And this episode is fine. It kept me entertained throughout, which, I mean, when you're watching any form of media, that's kind of all you need. Didn't make me laugh at any points, except really with Muscle Man just using the portable toilet. I thought that was pretty funny, and Rigby talking about eating meatballs in there. But other than that, not a whole lot happens until the end, and the ending is just like 2 minutes of them just trying to get a door open and trying to find out which one Mordecai and Rigby are in. The tension is there, but overall, it's just, again, not a episode that I would want to rewatch because there's just nothing too amazing about it. There hasn't been a single episode on this list that I've talked about so far that I'm like, wow, this is a regular show classic, because there's just none of those so far, which compared to the other seasons is pretty disappointing.
I'm the best man! I can't let him down!
And coming in at number 27 is the episode Bachelor Party Zingo! And for a Quips episode, I actually think they redeemed his character a lot from his first appearance in the episode Quips. He's not just super annoying the entire episode, he actually has character, he actually does stuff compared to just telling jokes the entire time, so I think they redeemed his character and actually made him quite enjoyable. I would have loved to see him at least one more time in a much better light as well, but overall this episode is also a very simple plot. They have a lot of just simple plots in this season where it's just nothing super crazy happening, but I expect crazy things to happen in regular show. I mean, this episode is just all about Skips trying to get wings because Quips needs friends. He needs Skips to have a bachelor party, and Quips has no friends.
But in all honesty, Skips, I don't have a lot of friends, so I need you to be my best man.
So he puts it all on Skips' shoulders to get wings, and if he doesn't get wings, his marriage is going to literally fail. And so yeah, pretty high stakes. If Skips doesn't get those wings, it's all going to be over. So Skips is just trying to get those wings this entire episode, while everybody else is just throwing Quips a pretty awesome bachelor party. And I really like the way that they kidnap initially, just like jumping him while dressing up as like little school children and making fun of him, and then just kidnapping him, putting him in the limo.
Really tough crowd. Where are you taking me?
I actually thought that was pretty good. All the stuff that they're doing for his bachelor party is a lot of fun. Skip struggling to get the wings and going into Wing Kingdom and begging the guy, that was also pretty funny.
I'm the best man! I can't let him down!
Some best man can't even find a few wings.
And then they eventually have to go to the backwoods and get wings from them old outsiders, and they're like, you gosh dang city folk, you can't have any of our them there wings. And Skips is like, well, I can get those wings. And he has to do this big old like challenge, like super spicy wing challenge, and that's the only way that they'll give him wings, except these wings are super hot. And Skips is just taking him down, just going, you know, just eating those wings, trying his best. And he gets to the final 3, and this makes him start hallucinating and going to Wing World, and he has to fight against the Zingos, which are just giant wings that are just roasting Skips the entire time, saying that he could never do this, and Skips is able to power through, defeat all of these wings. And them there evil backwoods folk are all like, well, we don't like you them there shitty people. We're not going to give you these wings anyway. So Skips just punches him in the face, and they just run away with the wings.
Run!
Curse you, big city shave
That's that. They're eating wings on the hill. So Quips' wife shows up and is actually a very normal human being, which was very surprising. But either way, overall a pretty solid episode. I actually enjoyed this one a lot. I don't have a lot of criticisms about it, other than maybe just nothing too crazy happens, but sometimes episodes that aren't too crazy are also pretty good. And this is a pretty solid one. I didn't really laugh at any points in it, but I thought that the ending was pretty epic with Skips like hallucinating and fighting all of those wings. That was pretty good. Skips trying to get all the wings was pretty good, and I did really enjoy them kidnapping Quips in the beginning. That was also pretty solid. So overall, a solid episode. Nothing too amazing about it, but still, it earns the number 27 spot.
Whoa, what are you wearing?
Tants! I'm wearing tants!
And coming in at number 26 is the episode Tants. In this episode, I feel like it's only memorable for a few things. First of all, Pops and all of his jolly good reactions to everything. I love him a lot in this episode. Then you just have Mordecai and Rigby being, you know, some bad people and not appreciating some good gifts. And then Eileen is a highlight in this episode, as well as just the final little bits of it. But everything else is just kind of boring and honestly forgettable. The episode is all about Pops giving out a bunch of gifts because he's just a super nice guy, and he gives Mordecai and Rigby these tants, which are pants that are also a table.
What are you wearing?
Tants! I'm wearing tants!
Honestly, pretty cool. I mean, if you want to have a standing, eating, dining experience where you're literally the table and that's for some reason your dream, I'm sure that these will be for you. And either way, he's like, oh, tants, look at me! I'm wearing tants! Can't you see I'm wearing tants? And Mordecai and Rigby think that that's honestly just horrid and disgusting, so they let Muscle Man take them off their hands. And Muscle Man and Starla, I don't even know what they did to those things. They had a spaghetti night or whatever, but they did some dirty things inside of those tants, and they are ripped to shreds.
Me and Starla are done with them anyway.
The only problem with this is that Pops wants to have a dance lunch with Mordecai and Rigby, and, you know, because these tants are destroyed, they have to do whatever it takes to get the tants back, and they find out that Pops dropped $150 each on both of these pairs of tants. So yeah, it's got them feeling a little bit bad, and we just keep getting all these scenes where they'd, like, almost tell Pops the truth, and he's just on the verge of tears.
We gave the tants...
Yeah, so the pressure is on. They gotta rebuild the tants and make their own version, and that's where Eileen is honestly a pretty good highlight of this episode, just going right to work to make some brand new tants. We get some good montage, some good scenes of them making those tants. And they need the final little bit, which is to place the Tants sticker onto the Tants pants, because for some reason they think Pops will notice this little minuscule detail, so they take it off, and that makes the Tants Corporation owner, who also makes other things like Tants, like gulps, glove mugs, so that you could drink while also wearing gloves. Yeah, it's super weird, but they make a bunch of things like that, and they come to fight them over trying to steal the Tants brand. But because Mordecai and Rigby are all like, oh, dude, we just wanted to make Pops happy, he's all like, oh, this is what Tants were all about. This is what they were all about, man. This is what we needed. We needed more of this. And so he decides to forgive them and gives them brand new pairs of Tants.
Friends deserve real tants. Tants all around!
And Mordecai and Rigby go on their Tants lunch with Pops, and that's pretty much the entire episode. Really liked Eileen in this episode, really liked the final battle against the Tants Corporation guys, but everything else was just kind of fine. Nothing really bad about the episode, but nothing I super enjoyed about it, other than a few little things here and there. And coming in at number 25 is going to be the episode Power Tower, and I think we're finally crossing that threshold here, where I don't have to just be ranting for 3 minutes, because I think this episode is a lot of fun. Definitely not the best in the entire season, but I don't have a lot of shit to talk about it, because it's just good from beginning to end. So it's all about Muscle Man and High Five Ghost, Mordecai and Rigby, all playing ping pong in a gym. And that's when Dale, the Deltoid DeSico, shows up and uses his massive pecs to destroy their ping pong ball.
That's what to do?
Because he's just that guy. He doesn't want these fat, unfit guys playing in his gym because he's just an asshole. And that's when Muscle Man and Dale recognize each other, and apparently they used to be in bodybuilding competitions together, and that's when we get a look at Muscle Man back in his prime, which is just visually so weird to see. Just him with muscles on muscles on muscles, just this jacked guy. And we finally get to learn why Muscle Man used to be called Muscle Man.
I had it all. Muscles, technique, The total package.
And at this point in the series, I honestly thought that it was kind of just a running joke because he was so out of shape that they called him Muscle Man. But no, he genuinely used to be jacked. Apparently, when he was really young, he helped his father on a failing rep, and it just made his muscles just grow instantly. And this entire origin story of Muscle Man becoming strong, I thought was hilarious. But that's going to be the premise of the episode. It's going to be Muscle Man versus Dale in the Power Tower Bicentennial, and if Muscle Man wins, they can all play ping pong at the gym. The only problem with this is that Muscle Man is very, very out of shape, and it's just unfeasible for him to actually get back into shape for this competition. So he's got to rely on form and only form, and that's when he learns about the Shredder, a move that will be able to shred the competition.
Easy.
The only problem is that if you do it and you fail, you literally die. Yeah, so there's pretty big stakes here, but either way, we get to the actual competition point of the episode, and Muscle Man is doing good with his awesome form, even though there's just these jacked people left and right. I wonder if somebody who was actually, like, obese entered a bodybuilding competition and just had the best form out of everybody there, if they'd actually give him a chance? I don't know. I'd be very interested in seeing somebody try just to get rejected instantly, but still, it'd be a very interesting concept. Either way, Muscle Man gets all the way to the finals against Dale the Deltoid, and they're going against each other. Muscle Man is losing because, I mean, how can you compete with this mass monster over here? So he starts going for the Shredder. Everybody's in shock, he can't possibly do it, but then he just manages to pull it off pretty easily. To be honest, it doesn't even seem like he struggles that much except with the final clasp. Even though this move is just honestly horrifying to watch be done, I don't even know how Muscle Man can contort his body in such ways, but he completes it, it shreds the competition, and Muscle Man wins, and that's the episode for you. But overall, it's pretty good from beginning to end. I really like the opening where he's just destroying the ping pong balls with his pecs. I thought that was so funny. Muscle Man's origins of actually becoming strong was pretty good, and the finale was pretty good. The only thing that I would really say I didn't enjoy about this episode was how convenient every single thing just played out for Muscle Man here. He's just all like, yeah, I could win, realizes that he's not fit anymore, and then is like, yeah, I could have perfect form, and then genuinely has perfect form with barely any like training for it. He's just like ready. He just wins when he's just this fat tub of lard. He wins this bodybuilding competition. I was kind of hoping that there would be like something magical that would make Muscle Man buff again for like 1 hour to help him win, but I mean, it was fine. It was wholesome. It was good to watch him win, good for him to get the win and get them to be able to play ping pong again. Overall, a pretty good episode.
Get out now! Dude, don't bail! Don't bail!
And coming in at number 24 is the episode Journey to the Bottom of the Crash Pit. And Benson is sick of this giant hole in the park because it shouldn't even be there in the first place. So Mordecai, Rigby, Benson, and High Five Ghost are all tasked with filling up the crash pit. And before this, they decided they're going to do one more crash in the crash pit. And, well, it doesn't go very well because they get a video recorder for it. And it's pretty funny. Rigby has a great reaction to it. It's honestly so funny.
Get out now! Dude, don't bail! Don't bail!
I could see why all these little gremlins were laughing at it, but he leaves the camera in there and it goes down into the pit, and Benson needs this camera for like a wedding that he's going to, so they have to journey into the bottom of the crash pit and get it back. And that's when they meet the Carlocks, who have been using all the stuff from all of the cars to survive and enjoy themselves, and they eventually find the camera and they love it so much because it gives them the gift of laughter, and they truly need to laugh a little bit. So they're not willing to give the camera back. So everybody has to steal it. They steal it from them, and then we honestly get this pretty good chase scene. It's honestly pretty solid with them like driving up the crash pit because Benson's filling it up with dirt because he clearly thinks that they couldn't do it. And this entire scene is honestly pretty good. I honestly liked it a lot. Pretty good chase scene. Didn't expect it to be in this kind of episode with them literally driving upwards up the crash pit. It was so good. I enjoyed it a lot. And they eventually escape and kill all of the Carlocks, who I honestly just felt bad for because, I mean, they weren't necessarily villains. I mean, how would you feel if your entire existence was based off this one thing, the fact that cars will drop into your pit and give you goodies, and then you have these people come and steal you, your favorite goodie, and so they all die because of it? Yeah, that sucks. feels bad for the Carlocks, but they get the camera back, give it to Benson, and Benson's like, yes, maybe I'll make my father happy at this wedding, yes. Definitely pretty middle of the road for me when it comes to like not being too amazing, but not being bad in any way. I would just say it's overall a pretty solid episode, just enjoyable, but not one of the best, that's for sure.
Try to use your computing device to look up its habitat on the internet. But I got scared.
And coming in at number 23 is the episode Gold Watch, and this episode is honestly pretty enjoyable from beginning to end. I mean, it opens with Benson celebrating because he finally did it. He did it all. 5,000 consecutive days of going to work every single day. He has earned a gold watch from Mr. Maylard for not missing a single day, and that's honestly crazy, man. Like, take a day off. Does that mean that he never even had any vacations, like, ever? He's just always working? Like, this guy deserves to just own the park at this point, to be honest. But either way, he's eating chicken wings, and that's when Mordecai and Rigby come over, and they're all like, hey, Benson, these guys are celebrating 1,000 and something too. I think it's actually 1,000. I don't know why I said 5,000. That's a bit of an exaggeration. But either way, this leads to some silly shenanigans where Benson wakes up in the middle of the desert, his mouth covered with wings. He doesn't remember a damn thing that happened last night. All he remembers is that Mordecai and Rigby introduced him to these like fighter pilot guys.
Mordecai and Rigby!
And so Benson has to march his way on this highway, try to figure everything out. He calls Pops and he's like, Pops, where am I? What's going on? And Pops is all like, well, Benson, let me tell you something. And then Benson gets arrested by this cop for literally no reason and gets thrown in jail. And that's when he sees Mordecai and Rigby and the two fighter pilots there and just starts choking Mordecai like, what did you do to me?
What did you do to me?
And it turns out that Benson tested their like super ultra fighter jet last night, and that's why he woke up in the middle of the desert just in a chair. Yeah, it's super weird. But either way, they have to figure out a way to get out of jail. Luckily, Pops heard like a call of a bird, so he knew exactly where they were. Yeah, very odd, but God, I love Pops.
Try to use your computing device to look up its habitat on the internet. But I got scared.
And he just throws Pops in jail for no reason because this cop is just a asshole. I don't even understand him even remotely. He's just so mean, and he just likes throwing people in jail because he just, I don't know, he's horny for power trips, I guess. And they have to find a way to get out of jail, so they come up with a plan of hiding on the back of Pops' giant head. Literally all of them just hiding on his head. And Pops is all like, oh no, they mugged me. Help me, sir. And so he comes in there, and then they all just jump him and just beat him.
What?
And they all try to run away. Benson is using the fighter jet, and the cop is chasing him, and he's also super fast, but Benson just goes all the way Mach 10 to escape this guy, and it makes him go all the way into the future. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff, and it turns out that he missed the day, and everybody thinks that he's going to die, so he goes back into the past, and he's able to make it on time and get his gold watch, and he celebrates, and Muscle Man's all like, you want a wig to celebrate, Benson? You want a wing? And Benson's all like, no, I think I've had enough. And Maylard's like, come on, it's just one wing. And then Benson wakes up in the middle of the ocean. And yeah, that's the entire episode. Overall, it's pretty solid. Again, I always love episodes where Benson gets an obvious win here, and he gets his gold watch, a sign that he's been doing super good. The beginning of the episode is pretty funny. I really like just Benson celebrating, getting drunk off wings. Him waking up in the desert was also pretty good. That was pretty funny. Everything with like Pops recognizing the sound of a bird for some reason. I don't know. I just like all of Pops' like wacky characteristics. They're just all so good. Everything with the cop was really good. I like that he was on a power trip and then they just jump him. Yeah, it's just pretty good stuff. Pretty solid episode. Definitely earns its spot.
I got a voice-activated future gun here. Hello?
And coming in at number 22 is the episode Benson's Car. And in this episode, Mordecai and Rigby accidentally throw a TV remote through Benson's windshield.
In a minute.
No, now!
So they have to try to find a way to like figure it out and fix it before Benson notices because they don't want him to be mad. And this has very unintended horrible consequences for them because Benson, upon seeing that his car is literally gone, decides that he's going to hire Bring Him Back Jack, a bounty hunter from the future. He's going to chase them down and literally kill them and get Benson's car back.
I got a voice-activated future gun here. Hello?
Yeah, so obviously a pretty good premise to open up this episode, and I love every single aspect that we get right after this, because I like that they go to Muscle Man, and they're all like, Muscle Man, do you know a guy who can fix windshields? And he's like, you know who else can fix a windshield? This guy, Armand. Armand can fix your windshield. And so they go to like this really sketchy area and have to like signal for this guy to help them. And that's when he shows up and he does some good work. And I mean some good work. And I'll tell you why later. But either way, he fixed the windshield, and bringing back Jack is just hot on their tail. He's chasing them, and that leads to the main like climax of the episode where he's about to kill Mordecai and Rigby with his like awesome space gun with the missiles on it. And Benson is able to stop him, save him, but in the process, Benson's car gets blown up. And Benson is reasonably pissed about this. He's all like, you guys are going to pay for my bus fares for the next 3 months. Which is honestly not that bad considering his entire car got destroyed and they stole his car. I still don't know how they're employed here. And so they're going to clean up the damages and they see that the windshield is still intact. Yes, Armand did in fact do good work. The guy that Muscle Man knew was actually a very good windshield guy because he did some great stuff right there. He made the windshield literally indestructible. Overall, this episode is pretty good. There was a lot to enjoy about it. I liked Mordecai and Rigby actually taking the initiative to try and fix the car, even though it led to, you know, them almost getting murdered. I really like the bounty hunter guy. I thought he was a great villain for the episode. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is he not a reference to ZF1 The Fifth Element? Think so? Like his like Vicky like arm guy? Is that not a reference to that? Maybe? I don't know. Somebody tell me in the comments. But either way, pretty good stuff. He was a pretty good villain for the episode. I really liked Benson in this episode. Just how much he cares about that goddamn car, willing to hire a space bounty hunter for it. Pretty good stuff. Overall, a pretty decent episode.
Benson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you!
And coming in at number 20 is the episode Silver Dude, and I enjoy this one a lot, mainly just because of Mordecai and Rigby's freestyling. Genuinely, if they decided to become like a freestyle hip-hop duo, they would probably do so good because the stuff that they come up with at the top of their heads is honestly just peak. I enjoy it so much, and in this episode, it does not fail. The episode opens with Mordecai and Rigby seeing a trailer for Zombies Return 4, a game that they have played throughout their entire lives. They played the first one, the second one, and the third one, and they need the fourth one, and I really like them asking Benson like for more work and more money. It's just so funny how they're just whispering to him to start it off. It's just so good. I love it.
Benson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you!
And he's all like, well, you guys could wax the floors, and they hate that. They don't want to do that, so they decide that they're going to go and do some street performing and just freestyle for people. And it's going really well at first, but the only problem is that they have to compete with this Silver Dude who starts stealing their songs and using it to their advantage. And I don't understand how this guy is getting money in the first place. I mean, it's just because he's silver and he's just juggling balls. That's just it.
Sun shining. What
Hey,
the?
you're so inviting.
But dollar bills equals zombie fun timing.
He could play with balls really nicely. He could just like do this with them, fondle them really nice. That's all he could do. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. And so he starts stealing their songs and he just starts fondling balls to their songs. And Mordecai and Rigby don't like this. And that's when the street performing god shows up and he looks so weird.
Rigby, don't!
Now, what is all this ruckus?
Why does he look the way he does? I don't like it at all. But they have the street performing battle to end it all off with Mordecai and Rigby just rapping at him, just going at him. And it's honestly such a good ending sequence with him not being able to even remotely compete. Because guess what? He's nothing without his lame boombox.
Nothing without your lame boombox. You're nothing without your lame boombox. Boombox, boom.
Yeah, and they defeat him and they get all the money from the pot. They buy Zombies Return 4. And the street performer god just like sits there while they're playing it and just starts humping the floor, just like aggressively, just starts like spreading his legs and just going and just humping it just like right in this one spot. And Benson's just like, I still need you guys to wax the floors, and can you vacuum that one spot right there, like specifically this spot where he's just like pressing his balls against the floor.
I'm also gonna need you to vacuum the carpet. Mostly this spot right here.
It's so funny. It's so good. Definitely a pretty good episode of Regular Show.
You smash my hot wife!
And coming in at number 19 is Terror Tales 3. And this is truly the last good Terror Tales that we ever got. I think every single one after this just did not live up to the hype that Terror Tales usually brings. But this one is pretty solid. We get 3 stories here in one episode, and they're all pretty good. The first one, Killer Bed, focuses on Johnny Allen Wrench, a serial killer that got turned into a bed and just so happens to be in Rigby's brand new bed, starts smothering him, he's screaming, and Benson's all like, I could give you a job. just put down the Allen wrench. And I felt so bad for this guy. I think it's hilarious. This ending is so good, where, you know, he got offered a brand new job. Johnny Eldridge is just sitting there, smile on his face, and they all just jump him with axes and murder him. It was so funny. Definitely the funniest one in the entire episode. And then we have the one about smashing some pumpkins. They're going around smashing all the pumpkins in the park because Benson told them to, and they eventually stumble upon this pumpkin patch that says smash anyone you want, but just don't smash this husband and wife duo. And then what do? They look at the wife, they look her all up, and they're like, we're gonna smash her. We're gonna smash her real good right in front of her husband. Smash her all up. Smash her with everything that we got. You know, just smashing her left and right. And they do it. They smash her. And that makes the husband dude really angry. And he starts turning them all into pumpkins. And it's honestly pretty horrifying, but it's just so good watching him just chase them all around, chase them all into pumpkins. It's tense, it's scary, but it's funny, it's so good. And it ends with them all being little pumpkins on the ground because he threw their seeds everywhere. And they're just arguing over who not to get chosen by this little boy. So good, pretty solid story. And then we have the one with Jebediah Townhouse about to hit you with the roundhouse. A man from the past who was speaking like he was from the 80s. And he comes back into the future on a night with Mordecai, Rigby, Pops, Muscleman, all staying in the house, just trying to survive the night, even though Jebediah Townhouse is haunting them, and he basically kills them all, eats them all.
Eat on that, Jebediah Townhouse!
Whoop, there it is!
It's pretty entertaining, and I really like how everyone's just talking to him like, hey man, I think you came back a little bit late because you know how you were like too advanced back in the past? Yeah, now you're too late and all of your like sayings are like bogus, like this stuff's bogus. Like, you shouldn't be saying that. That's like in the past now, man. Nobody talks like that anymore. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. Terror Tales 3, definitely one of the better Terror Tales, but overall in season 5, it's still middle of the road. And coming in at number 18 is the episode Catching the Wave. And yes, we got another jolly good show episode because it's all going to be about Pops. Yes, and in this episode, I really like the opening of it where Pops is trying to connect with nature and nature just starts brutally attacking him and he's just like, why nature, why? Because it's just literally just brutalizing him. The turtles are eating him. The bees are stinging him. Everything just starts attacking him. And so Pops realizes that the only way that he could connect with nature again is to surf a wave, because surfers are just so bonded with nature because they're all like, bro, dude, you want to ride that wave, bro? Like, we're so connected with nature, bro, which is so cool, dude. So, like, yeah, Pops is like, I gotta get in with him. And the only problem is that he has a Mondo Cabezzo. And all the bullies at the beach realize this, and they just all be assholes to him. And they work so well as a villain for this episode because I hate them so much. Why are you bullying my main man, Pops?
Hey, we should call this guy Mondo Cabezzo.
Hey, Mondo Cabezzo, can I rub your head for good luck?
They just start roasting him, making fun of him. They even make fun of a dead guy who was just trying to teach people how to surf. Yeah, they're pretty bad people, so Pops has to leave the beach, and everybody decides they're going to help him, and he gets his own wave machine. And Pops almost dies. He literally gets sucked into a tube. And that's when the Dr. Henry shows up and he's all like, Pops, if you keep trying this, you will die. And he's like, bad show. I must become connected with nature. And so he tries to sneak out. Mordecai and Rigby are guarding the door, but they fall asleep and they're like, we gotta check on Pops. And there's just a giant, like, Pop-sized hole in the wall. And I thought that was so funny.
No way he got past us. Plus his head is too big to fit through the window.
Pops is just trying to surf this wave. That's when all the surfers show up to the park to try and surf this wave, calling in all the surfers. We get a battle between all the park members against all these surfers. It's pretty solid, pretty good, and Pops is able to hop up and surf that wave, and he's like, oh, jolly good show. I'm connected with nature. Oh, man, I gotta love it, gotta love Pops. The whales show up, the dolphins show up, everything shows up because Pops finally did it. He connected with nature. You gotta love it. This is definitely one of the best, like, Pop-centered episodes. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was so good. Definitely one of the better ones for season 5 for sure.
Tally ho!
And coming in at number 17 is the episode of Skips in Time, and this episode is all about skips from the past coming to the future through a time-nado. They pull him in, they bring him in, they're shocked to see that it's Skips from the past, and Skips from the past is just like learning everything about this new world. He sees Mordecai and Rigby's video games, he's like, what is this? He tries a pizza pouch, he's like, what is this? This is amazing! Oh my gosh, I can't believe it!
Tally ho!
And he doesn't like Skips from the future because Skips likes to help people. Yeah, very weird reason to hate someone. He even says that he would never help anyone ever. Damn. Skips from the past was just such a douchebag. But either way, that's when Tecmo shows up and he explains everything. That Skips from the past was like, tally ho! And like went through the time-nado and escaped to the future on one of their storm chases way back when. And Rigby's all like, you're a technomancer and a storm chaser? Yeah, and I also have a panini press in my arm. Get over it, I'm the coolest guy ever. God, I love Tecmo.
Be any cooler?
Does having a panini maker in my arm answer your question?
Uh-huh.
He honestly is so cool. He's just so good. But either way, they decide that they have to get past Skips, back through the time-nado, back to the past, because Skips from the now is literally dying because Skips from the past should not be here. So we just get this awesome sequence of them chasing down the time-nado. Tecmo is just honestly a badass here, like literally like running on a tightrope and cutting things with his sword. He's just so cool here. They eventually go all the way up, back through it, Mordecai and Rigby helping him in the past to go through it. Skips is on the verge of death, and they push Skips from the past back through his portal, back to his own time. Skips is back to normal, and it's just, it's so cool. Such a cool sequence. The time-nado is honestly so awesome. I could see why they wanted to use that for the movie, because it's just such a cool concept, a time-nado that could literally like travel through time. It's just so cool. Tornadoes are awesome. Gotta love it. And yeah, this episode overall was pretty decent. When I was looking through like what people were saying about season 5, a lot of people were putting this all the way up at the top, but for me that's just not it. I think this episode is really good, but it's definitely not like peak regular show or anything. And coming in at number 16 is the episode Take the Cake, and I think this episode is so funny. It's so underrated, especially the beginning of it. It opens with Benson trying to throw a surprise party for Mr. Maillard, who is apparently unsurprisable. You just can't catch this guy off guard. He always knows that it's coming, so he's trying to have this big elaborate plan to surprise him. And Mordecai and Rigby, they just gotta go and pick up the cake. That's all they have to do. It seems like a very simple task, right? They go to the store, and because they had like a pre-order, they're a little bit VIP, so they get to cut this lady in line and go to the VIP section. But this lady, she does not like this. She's like, hey, you can't possibly cut me in line. This is not okay. I've been waiting here for so long. And they get the last cake pastries. Oh my God. I can't handle any of this bullshit anymore. Yeah, she's super pissed off about it, but Mordecai and Rigby just go on their merry way. They grab their cake, put it on top of the cart, everything seems fine, and then this crazy Karen lady just starts chasing them and trying to literally kill them over this just one person cut in line. Yeah, very Karen. The first Karen that we truly get to see in regular show, and she does not disappoint. Just this honestly epic just scene where they're just trying to run away, trying to shake her, and trying to keep this cake on top of the cart. It's so good, and she eventually crashes.
Huh? Wait, what does that say? I wish I could breathe.
And, you know, that sucks for her, but she honestly deserved it. And Mordecai and Rigby were able to dodge her, stop her this entire time, but they hit one small pothole and the cake falls off and is destroyed. Yeah. That sucks. Sucks for them. So they have to get CJ and Eileen to help them make a brand new cake. And I really like the sequence of them making the cake. I thought it was a lot of fun. And they make this super ultra cake that was way better than the cake that Benson initially bought. The only problem is that they made the cake way too giant to even fit out of the door. Wouldn't you think that at some point they would realize that, like, hey, maybe we don't need to make a giant goddamn cake? But either way, they go through with it, they make this giant cake, and they realize the problem that they now face, and so they have to try to use a teleporter to teleport the cake out. Benson does not like this when he finds out about it. He's very upset. He doesn't understand why any of this is happening, and he accidentally uses the teleporter, and Mr. Maillard is just casually walking, and the cake falls on top of him, and he's just like, and it gives him a heart attack, but luckily, because this is the first time that he's ever been surprised, he actually loved it, because nobody else was ever able to surprise him.
To know what to say.
This got him so good that it gave him a heart attack, so he loves it. That's the end of the episode, and I do not see a lot of praise for this episode. I honestly think it's so good. The beginning of it was just awesome with that Karen lady, and then them making the cake and surprising Mailer was also a lot of fun. Benson raging is always a good time. Overall, a pretty solid episode. I'm surprised not a lot of people mentioned this one.
Man, he is looking old!
And coming in at number 15, it's the episode Guitar of Rock, and I love the opening of this episode so much, because, I mean, you'd think, like, oh, they're delivering a package to Mr. Maylard, who is a rich guy who has a super big mansion with all this awesome stuff. Mordecai and Rigby are going to cause chaos, but then we get to the big reveal. Benson is the one who messes it up. He messes up. He finds a signed guitar from Bruce Rock, and he decides to start playing with it, and he destroys it. And so they're like, okay, we need to go fix this. We need to find Bruce Rock. So they go to one of his concerts, and I really like this because Rigby's like, dang, he is looking old, man.
Man, he is looking old!
Because he's like in his 70s or 80s. He's looking super old. And he's all like, yeah, dude, I'll sign you guys this guitar right after the concert. It's no trouble. And he falls off of the stage during the concert, so he can't sign it, so he dies. So Mordecai, Rigby, and Benson have to go to Rockstar Underworld and try to find him there and get him to sign it there. They talk to Death, and this is the favor that Death uses for the episode Playdate. That's why Death does this in the first place. He takes them there, and they have to wear these fake costumes and have fake names like Five Knuckle Joe, Xander Mercury, Lightning Jimmy Joe. Yeah, they have to be rock stars, and they manage to get past the bouncer thanks to Death. They get in there, and they find Bruce Rock, and the only thing that they need is they need a pen. They need a pen, but nobody brought a pen to sign it. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. So they think about asking the bouncer for his pen, and well, one guy does it before them, and it doesn't go very well for him.
Oi, mate, can I borrow your pen?
That was so funny. I don't know why they had to do that guy so wrong, but it worked so well. And so they try to just steal the bouncer's pen. That doesn't work out, and the bouncer's all like, you know what, prove to us that you're rock stars. And they obviously fail pretty badly. So now they have to escape this bouncer who turns into a literal dragon, is chasing them. They're able to get the pen. They're able to sign the guitar. They rush out of there. Boom, they escape, and they put the guitar back. And I love the ending of the episode where Maylard is just all like, oh, I love to feel like a rock star, and just smashes the guitar. Yeah, so all of it was for nothing because he's rich. But it's so good. I really like this concept of Benson actually being the one to make a mistake for the first time in a while and causing the actual episode to happen. All of this stuff in the Rockstar Underworld was really fun. Just overall a very good episode. And coming in number 14 is the episode Every Meat Burritos, and I love the opening of this episode where it's just Jim Bros Burritos, Jim Bros Burritos. They're watching the ad for it, and they have unveiled their Every Meat Burrito, a burrito that is said to contain every single meat, so our guys, they gotta have it. And thank you guys so much for the people who commented on my ranking every food episode in regular show, who, when I was questioning if they used human meat in there, everyone said that they used long pig, which is human, so that makes it very weird. But is it weird in the world of regular show where everybody can be an animal if they want to? Well, not if they want to, like some people are just animals, so is it weird to eat a human if people are also eating animal meat? I don't know, maybe it's just the norm in the regular show world to eat humans. Yeah, I don't know. Very weird. But either way, they got to get this burrito, and I really love the sequence of them like trying to go up to the drive-thru, but they can't because the golf cart's not allowed because it doesn't have any doors. Very weird rule, especially if you're a business trying to make money. I don't see why you wouldn't just hand them the burritos because they clearly have a vehicle. But either way, they got to try all these shenanigans to try and make it work. They try cardboard. That doesn't work. Muscle Man tries to like centrally start his car by like rubbing it with his foot. Come on! Yeah, that was very weird to watch, but it was really funny. And then they eventually go to Low Five Ghosts, and they're all like, hey, we need a car. Do you have any impounded ones? And they pick this one that's just been used as like target practice. It's just been used by cops to just chill during their breaks, and they take it. They get the burritos, and that's when Barry comes out of the shag carpet, punches them in the face, grabs the burritos, and falls back into the shag universe. So they give chase to him. Muscleman and High Five Ghosts get caught in this like shag carpet trap. But Mordecai and Ray, we go deeper and deeper into this shag universe and find Barry, and we get Barry's origin story that he's been on the run from the law for so many years. It's been so hard. He just doesn't know what to do, but when he smelled those dang burritos, he just had to have them. And so Mordecai and Rigby have to fight him, and he punches him, and he just goes, oh! But like in like slow motion, and yeah, it's really funny. It's a reference to something. I know people have told me on so many occasions what it is, but I can't keep it in my brain. But either way, it's a reference to an old movie where like that would happen, where they just go in slow motion. And it's honestly so funny. It makes for such a good fight. They defeat Barry, get the burritos, and they're all like, tastes like chicken. Perfect way to end the regular show episode. That fight scene, although it was just pure comedy, it made it so much better than them just actually like fighting him just naturally. I enjoyed it so much. Everything leading up to that ultimate epic final battle against Barry was really good as well. All of the stuff with the shag carpet, his backstory, them like trying to start Muscle Man's car, all of it was really good. Definitely deserves to be higher up on the list.
Yeah, I mean, Audrey and I aren't really calling it a date, but... Rigby, what are you doing? Stop! Stop it! Get out of my face with that camera or you're fired!
At 13 is the episode Bad Portrait, and I'm glad that we actually got an episode that dives deep into like Mordecai's past desires of wanting to be an artist and failing art school. That was some pretty good stuff, but the episode is all about Mordecai and Rigby going to pick up a portrait of Benson for Benson's super important night of getting inducted into like the Hall of Fame of park managers or something. Yeah, it's super important. They go to pick it up, and Rigby, of course, is eating a cheesy pretzel, and he really wants to see that portrait, so he forces Mordecai to open it up a little bit, and he even says, "Dude, what could possibly go wrong with my pretzel?" And the worst possible thing goes wrong with his pretzel.
They got handles.
And so yeah, he starts smearing it everywhere, cheese is everywhere, so now it's up to Mordecai to repaint this portrait in time for tonight's big super event. And Mordecai is struggling with this a lot because, I don't know, he's not confident in his ability to be an artist. He struggled a lot in art school. He just doesn't feel good enough at doing anything that he possibly can. He's watching a Bob Ross video. He's trying to figure out everything. Rigby in this is being funny throughout the entire thing. I mean, he brings back the cheesy pretzel and he's like, "What, dude, I can't change. This is who I am now."
Another hot pretzel.
Of course, another hot pretzel.
I thought that was pretty funny. Mordecai's all like, "Oh, I need some inspiration." So Rigby sprints up and just starts spam taking pictures of Benson. And Benson's like, "What are you doing? Get away from me."
Rigby, what are you doing? Stop! Stop it!
I thought that was pretty good, and then you get to the main conflict of the episode where Mordecai just keeps messing up, and he accidentally unleashes like these versions of Benson that are like paint versions and are evil and are just making fun of him, saying that he could never, possibly ever paint the portrait, he's a failure, and so they have to use paint as a weapon and like just fight all these paint monsters, and I thought it was super fun. I thought it was a great way to like use paint as a weapon. I enjoyed it a lot. Rigby literally covers himself in paint, and they throw Rigby at the paint people. It's so good. I enjoyed it so much. And then you get that ending where Mordecai actually did paint it, but it looks super weird and wonky with all the colors. Everybody hates it at first, and then he flips it over, and it actually does look like Benson. It looks pretty good, but they obviously can't use it. But either way, Benson likes it. He's all like, I want this framed. And yeah, I enjoyed this episode a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun to dive into Mordecai's past a little bit in a fun way with a super good ending with all of that like fighting with all the paint monsters. Pretty good, pretty solid, definitely earns its spot.
My shots are like the best part of the alphabet. Element.
And coming in at number 12 is the episode Bank Shot, and of course I'm going to rank the episode with the return of Dawn and the return of Basketball God pretty high up on this list. I mean, it's just so good. Regular Show is one of those shows where it's supposed to get really crazy, but when you're able to make a pretty grounded, really good down-to-earth story in Regular Show still feel awesome and still feel entertaining and still have so much comedy, then I'm going to love that episode regardless of if it gets too crazy or not. And this is one of those episodes because it's all about Rigby playing some Bank Shot, and he is just so good at this. And in Bank Shot, there is one rim and a bunch of just backboards for basketball, and you got to hit as many backboards as possible to get the best score. And he ends up challenging this guy Cash and betting his hat on it. The excellent hat. Yes, we get the return of the excellent hat actually having importance in the series. That's great. That's awesome. And he goes against this guy and he just gets destroyed, like absolutely annihilated. He literally throws his first shot. He puts all of his gut into it, and it just flies out the window. It's gone forever.
It should have worked.
Ow!
So he sucks. He challenges him again, but the bet this time is that if he wins, Cash has to pay for his dinner, and if he loses, well, then they have to pay for Cash's dinner. And Cash has been eating diamond-coated wings this entire night, and Rigby loses again, so yeah, this is going to cause a lot of problems, but they schedule one more rematch, but Rigby just needs some time to practice, and I just love every single aspect of Rigby practicing here. I mean, we get Dawn coming back to show him how it's done and teach him and get him his confidence back. I love Dawn. He's such a good character.
I haven't seen one of these since we were kids. Woo!
I wish he was used a lot more in the series. I'm glad he got to return, though, and it was a pretty good episode for his return, with him just teaching Rigby how to do it, trying to show him up. Rigby gets his confidence back a little bit, and they go for the final battle against Cash, and Rigby loses again. And that's when the basketball god shows up to reveal the actual truth that Rigby's first throw that he ever did in his first match against Cash, well, it's still going. It's been in play this whole time. And I love the basketball gag here. I mean, it's just going on this journey around the entire world. It meets another basketball to fall in love with. It goes on a plane. It's just crazy. And it eventually comes all the way back to the restaurant. It's just bouncing everywhere, and it is the greatest bank shot ever done, and it goes in through the hoop, and Rigby wins. Gets his hat back. Awesome episode. Great feel-good moment for Rigby that he could trust his gut all along, and he defeats Cash. And also, I didn't mention that Cash, the villain here, is just a literal, like, basketball backboard and rim. Yeah, I don't know why they decided to make him a basketball hoop, but it works so well for the episode. It's so enjoyable, and it's definitely a very good episode of Regular Show.
Get picture taken while mooning on all 7 continents. That's actually really cool.
And coming in at number 11, it has to be the episode Rigby in the Sky with a Burrito. This episode is just such a funny concept. I mean, the beginning of it is just so good, with Mordecai and Rigby just using the mail to be like ninjas and they're having a ninja battle. That was so good, but Rigby actually takes a peek at his mail for once in his life and sees that his high school reunion is coming up, the 10-year one. The only problem with this is Rigby has done absolutely nothing since high school, so he looks at his yearbook and he apparently had this long list of things that he was going to achieve, and I love Mordecai reading all these out because they're all just so absurd.
Get picture taken while mooning on all 7 continents. That's actually really cool.
But the one that they actually pinpoint is eat a burrito while skydiving. That seems achievable in the 2 days before the graduation. So they go to a skydiving school, and while Rigby is trying to learn how to skydive with the skydiving instructor, he pulls out the burrito and he's like, "What are you doing, son?" "Eating a burrito!" And they start fighting and he throws it in the fan and it sprays up to them. That was just so good.
Whoa, son, what are you doing? Eating a burrito! No! No snacks on the fan!
Rigby!
And then they eventually go to Muscle Man, and of course Muscle Man knows a guy who owns a plane. So they go to this guy, they get all the way up into the sky, Rigby jumps out of there, he's skydiving, and I just love Rigby skydiving here. I think it's so funny. I love him taking a picture of himself and failing. I love his parachute literally failing on him, ripping, so he has to talk to this tortilla and be all like, "Please save me," and the tortilla is just above him, like, just quivering, like, yes, and then he, like, lets it go, and it just misses, and he's like, "Betrayal!"
Promise to save my life if I let go of you? Okay! Betrayer!
And then it eventually does save him. He crashes all the way through into the high school of his reunion. What an entrance. And he's just like, "Ha, did you see that?" And it just turns out to be a bunch of pink people with really big heads. And it turns out that it was Pops' reunion. And he's just like, "Ew, why is everyone so gross and old?"
What the? I didn't even need to skydive. Just look at how ugly everyone got.
Pops runs over to like, "Mordecai, Rigby, hello." Because, yeah, it's his reunion. And, yeah, that's the entire episode. I really loved the ending. It was a great subversion for it to be Pops' reunion. I thought that was so funny. And just everything leading up to that was a lot of fun. I loved the skydiving school part. I really enjoyed everything with Rigby in the sky, all of the build up to him actually jumping out. It's just all really good, a lot of fun, and definitely makes for one of the better episodes of Regular Show.
I got mad the last time you ignored me. This time, I'm deeply offended.
And coming in at number 10, it has to be the episode Survival Skills. And this episode is just so much fun from beginning to end. There's so much to like about it. I love the opening of the episode where they're all just at Benson's little survival skills meeting. They're just playing video games. And that's when Benson's all like, "Mordecai, Rigby, where are the tortillas that I asked you guys to get?" "Tortillas? What tortillas?"
Don't forget we're having quesadillas this time, so if you can pick up the tortillas, I'd really appreciate it.
No problem.
And apparently Benson has been asking them to get tortillas like every single day. I honestly just feel so bad for this guy. I mean, he even asked like super nicely all the time. He's just like, "Hey, have you guys got the tortillas? Hey, just wanted to make sure you guys were gonna get those tortillas." And they always say yes every single time, and they didn't get the tortillas. So Benson's all like, "Go to the store and get those tortillas." And Mordecai and Rigby get lost in the woods because Rigby didn't gas up the cart. So now they're lost in the woods, and we get all of these amazing sequences. I mean, first of all, they're lost for just a little bit, so they decide to eat some tree bark, and they just start tripping balls. Like, they get so high.
That bad. Whoa, dude.
Huh? That's not right, man.
What show did you see that bark thing on?
They're just seeing so many crazy things, and there's so much foreshadowing in this little trippy moment. I mean, you have Margaret slapping CJ at one point, you get to see Dawn. There's just so much foreshadowing in this little trippy moment that I just enjoyed it so much. It was just so much fun. I loved it. It's visually pretty awesome. And then you have Mordecai and Rigby actually, they did eventually get to the store and get the tortillas. I didn't mention, but it was on their way back that they didn't gas up the cart and got a little bit lost. So they're using all the tortillas to survive in so many different ways. They fight off this weird, goat bear. Yeah, they fight that off. They're using it as clothes. They're using it to drink water. They're using the tortillas for literally everything to survive. They've apparently been out there for so long. I love the sequence. Their beards are growing. They've apparently been out in the woods for years trying to survive. Their cell phone battery only has 1% left, but they eventually are sprinting. They want to survive. They want to live, and they manage to find one bar. They start calling Benson. They're like, Benson, can you find us? And it turns out that they've just been hallucinating and still tripping balls for a very long time, I'm assuming, because they were 20 feet away from everybody else just doing all the survival shenanigans, but they were 20 feet away from everybody else at the park.
Hello?
And apparently when that goat bear went to attack him, it was just Thomas. They just started trying to violently kill Thomas. Oh, it's just so good. It's so funny. I actually really like the twist at the end because I didn't expect it, especially when I was a kid, that they were just right next to them the entire time. It was just so good, so comedic, so many good moments in this episode, so many good visuals. I really liked everything they were doing with the tortillas. It was just, it's just so good. Definitely one of regular show's best.
Lonely people lead to subscribers. Subscribers lead to more clicks. More clicks somehow lead to millions of dollars.
And coming in at number 9 is the episode Real Date. And this episode is definitely one of the best romance episodes in the entire series, actually giving me hope that Mordecai and CJ were going to work out and we were just going to get blissful relationship episodes after this that were just good fun, had a good villain, had good tense moments, and were just overall felt like a regular show episode. Boy, was I wrong, but it doesn't take away from how good this episode is. I really love the beginning of it where Mordecai gets a bunch of mail from Couple Corral and he's trying to figure out how to give CJ a perfect date, give her a gift, go on a real date. And I really like Benson here because he breaks it down for Mordecai.
For a romantic way to give a gift to a girl?
Well, let me break it down for you, Mordecai.
Obviously, he doesn't actually start breakdancing, but he gives Mordecai the idea to hide a gift as a dessert, and at the same time, CJ is also trying to do an amazing gift for Mordecai to give him this, awesome waffle cake thing. Yeah, they're both trying to just give gifts to each other the entire time, and they start going on their date. It's a little bit awkward because they're both trying to find unique ways to give each other gifts, but, it's enjoyable when it's just not cringe. They're just having a good time. They're just going to dinner, racing each other, going to the pier, just having a really good time. Rigby and Eileen help set up a ultimate surprise with the surprises at the end because all of their surprises keep failing. They eventually get there and we just get this sweet moment where they're just very happy to be together, very happy to be giving each other gifts. And that's when the villain for the episode shows up once again, and he is the owner of Couple Corral and he has a sub, and he is very upset that everybody keeps leaving their site. He just can't handle it because happy couples are leaving his site because if they're happy couples, they're not going to stay on the dating site, and he just can't handle this. So he decides that he's going to try to get Mordecai to rejoin the site. He's been following him for this entire night, and when nothing really works out, he fires a bazooka at them trying to kill CJ, and he accidentally takes out Mordecai, and that makes CJ very angry, and she just unleashes havoc upon the Couple Corral guy, just destroying him, basically literally killing him. Yeah, so that guy's gone out of the picture. CJ finds Mordecai's corpse, but it turns out Mordecai is alive, and the gift that he got CJ melted all together into a heart, showing that they're just perfect for each other and the universe even likes them together. And CJ's surprise was gone, but it turns out that Eileen just stole it to give it to Rigby. We get some little hints that Rigby and Eileen are probably dating up to this point, but they won't tell us that. And overall, it's just such a good episode, man. It's just so good. I wish more relationship episodes were like this, where it's just a lot of good fun, but then at the end it still feels like regular show with crazy shenanigans, a crazy villain, a crazy just final sequence. You can mix all of these episodes and all of this relationship aspects to form long-term, really good stories and still give us like wholesome character building, but not just make it feel like it's leading to nothing or just nothing crazy is happening. Because when I'm watching regular show, I want crazy things to happen. Like in this episode, some crazy things happen. And I don't need it in every single episode, but when you make 60 relationship episodes out of 200, and some of them are just, I like you too, I like you so much, should we be together? No? Okay. Then it just gets kind of boring. But this episode just blends every single aspect of a relationship episode with regular show that just makes it so good and definitely earns the number 9 spot.
You're cleaning it too, don't worry! You make me so angry! Is that what you—
Coming in at number 8 is the episode Paint Job, and when I was looking at this episode like 12 years ago on some Reddit forums, people hate this episode, which is just so weird to me because I thought it was so funny and had so many great character moments and a great concept that I enjoyed it through and through. The episode is all about, well, it has an amazing opening where Mordecai and Rigby are just throwing pizza pouches on the house playing this little pizza pouch game, and I just love the way that Benson runs over, immediately starts screaming, and they don't even get a single word in. He's just running around screaming at them. It's so funny.
Yeah, I think I'm getting the hang of the tension in... Oh, hey, Benson.
Did you put pizza all over this house? Don't deny it. I saw you put pizza all over this house.
I love it so much. I think Benson is a highlight at the beginning of this episode, and that's what it's going to be about. So now they have to power wash all of these pizza pouches off of the house. But Rigby tries to do it all on his own, and well, it goes pretty poorly because he destroys the paint all over the house. So Benson's even more angry now, so they have to paint the entire house all over, and it just takes too long. But Mordecai had plans with CJ today, and it's all Rigby's fault. So Rigby's like, fine, dude, I got it. We're bros, but I got this. I can do this all on my own. And he goes inside pretty much immediately, starts watching a commercial, sees a commercial for Stealth Co., who is willing to paint their entire house for free. Rigby's like, what? Perfect opportunity. So he hires them. He signs a contract without even reading it, and they paint the house. So Rigby goes to the coffee shop and he's like, Mordecai, you should trust me more, bro. I'm your bro. I already painted the entire house. So they go back to the house and it's invisible now. Completely invisible.
Look! Rigby, where's the house?
I don't know. It's supposed to be right
And I love this guy from the Stealth Co. company who pushes over a cardboard cutout of himself because it's apparently more stealthy and is all like, well, yeah, this test is complete. It's invisible, but now we're going to blow up your house as it's said in the contract with a missile from a jet. Yeah, so now the pressure's on. They got to race to the house and get this tracker that they placed on there off of the house. And so they're running through the house. And I actually like Benson here a lot because he actually shows up and he sees Rigby climbing on top of this invisible roof. And instead of immediately being angry, he's all like, whoa, get down from there. It's not safe. Instead of being angry, I like the progression of his character here. A lot of people were saying that Benson was mad the entire episode. I don't think that's really true. And every time he was mad, it was honestly very valid. To be honest, it was super valid for everything Mordecai and Rigby were doing. But they start playing hot potato with this tracker. They throw it off initially. Muscleman finds it and he's like, ooh, you guys think I can get some money for this? And they're all like, no, it's a bomb. So they throw it away. They just keep playing hot potato with it. And eventually Benson catches it, throws it away, and he thinks he's good, but he threw it through his car window and his car gets destroyed. So funny, but you feel so bad for the guy. And yeah, the house is saved, but Mordecai and Rigby are, dealing with the repercussions of Benson's sadness. But overall, it's a pretty good episode, and a main plot in this episode was that Rigby feels really insecure about Mordecai and his relationship because Mordecai keeps going to hang out with CJ, not hanging out with Rigby as much, and Rigby keeps having to do stuff on his own, so in a way, he was kind of trying to prove himself throughout the entire episode that he could handle things on his own, and Mordecai's like, dude, I'll always be your bro, I'll always help you out, and it's just great to look into Rigby's insecurities here, and the reason he's messing up is for actual reasons, and he's actually trying, instead of just being lazy and chaotic the entire time. I just enjoyed that aspect of the episode a lot. And yeah, this episode was very comedic. There were a lot of moments that I genuinely laughed in the episode, and the ending was really good with that missile, just the tension of it, and the hot potato over the tracker, Benson's car exploding. Just overall made for a very good episode that earns the number 8 spot.
This is the clock song. We're setting all the clocks wrong.
And coming in at number 7 is the episode Saving Time, and this episode has so much to love about it. I mean, first of all, you have the beginning of it where they think that it's going to be daylight savings, but it turns out that it's not actually going to be, but they're celebrating it anyway. They're partying, they're having a good time, they're drinking sodas, just knocking back one after another, having a great time. I loved the opening sequence, and it turns out that they got the date wrong, and it's not daylight savings yesterday, it's daylight savings today. And Benson's all like, you know what, guys? You're gonna go around the park, and you're going to change all of the clocks back as a punishment for you guys showing up an hour late to the morning meeting. And Mordecai and Rigby, being Mordecai and Rigby, are going to show Benson that it's not that important by turning all of the clocks back way too early, so we just get all of these awesome, super funny sequences. I love Mordecai and Rigby's clock song so much. This is the clock song. We're setting all the clocks wrong. As it's just a sequence of them just going around setting everybody's clocks wrong.
This is the clock song. We're setting all the clocks wrong.
And they eventually have to even go into Benson's apartment and switch his watch. It's all so good. And I just love Benson just waking up in the morning and just all these things seem super out of place. Like, why are the sprinklers on too early? Why is the garbage truck here early? Why is all this stuff happening? And that's when Mordecai and Rigby are like, we were pranking you. Oh my gosh, we just wanted to show you that the time isn't that big of a deal. And that's when, turns out it is a big deal. Because the entire park starts lifting up off of the ground. Benson's apartment starts lifting up off of the ground, and it all starts floating to the ocean to be in the ocean time zone. It's so funny. It's so good. It's exactly what I'm expecting out of a regular show episode, and I enjoy it so much. It's so funny. And they have to go and fix all the clocks back to their normal time, fix it back to their time zone so that they don't sink into the middle of the ocean. It's so good. It's so tense. It's so funny. Definitely one of my favorites in this season.
An expert at finding you, Bert Coleman!
Coming in at number 6 is the episode Expert or Liar. And I love this episode so much. I think it's so funny from beginning to end. I really just love the opening where it's just Rigby just doing some flower work, just gardening it up. And then this old lady shows up and like, do you like flowers? Do you think you're a expert? And Rigby being Rigby's like, yeah, I'm totally an expert. And that's when Bert Coleman takes off his skin suit and reveals that he is going to be on Expert or Liar to determine if he is actually a flower expert. And Rigby, of course, fails on the first question, proving that he is a liar.
What color are violets?
Easy. Red.
Everyone laughs at this. Everyone thinks that is super funny. And Rigby goes on this redemption adventure to prove everybody wrong and prove that he is going to be an expert in something. And I love all of the scenes of Rigby just going around town, just trying to find Bert Coleman, just literally like jumping on people, trying to remove their like skin masks.
An expert at finding you, Bert Coleman!
It's so funny. It's so good. And I really love the aspect of this episode where Rigby is just out in the cold struggling, and the person to take him in and actually try to help him turns out to be Benson. I love Benson in this episode because it turns out that Benson in the past also happened to go on a game show, and instead of saying bandana, he says banana, and he became a laughingstock for a really long time because how could he possibly do that? He would just have bananas thrown at him in public.
All right, Benson, say that word!
Banana!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just feel bad for this guy, but overall it's pretty dang funny. So Benson decides that he's going to help Rigby find Bert Coleman and prove that he's an expert. So he sends everybody on a mission to go and find Bert Coleman, and they eventually learn that Bert Coleman is going to be trying to find somebody at this video game arcade and see if they're a video game expert. And they decide that this is going to be the perfect opportunity to prove that Rigby is an expert. So Rigby is there, hiding, wearing a skin mask of his own. Bert Coleman tries to come over there and figure him out, and he reveals himself to be Bert Coleman, and Rigby reveals himself to be Rigby. And that's what I really love about this episode, because instead of him just asking questions in just this arcade, it turns into like this Donkey Kong-esque like entire world where Rigby has to go up all the tiles, dodging barrels, doing all this awesome stuff against all these video game characters, answering all the questions about all the video games, and I love it so much.
Harowitz! Abrowski! Correct!
The only thing that I didn't enjoy about it is why would the last question of this super important season finale of Expert or Liar and the contestant that you have for this, why would the question be who holds the record in broken bones when you know the answer, Bert, that it's going to be Mordecai and Rigby and the contestant you're going against is Rigby? So why would he not know that he has a world record in a video game? He could have switched it up like last minute to be something super obscure, but no, he makes it a question that Rigby is surefire to get right. But either way, I enjoy it. Rigby comes up, punches Bert in the face, and that's the end of the episode. Rigby proves that he is not a liar. He is a expert. Well, an expert in video games, but not flowers. So, I mean, he's kind of like a double liar, double expert. But anyway, then there's also just this gag of Muscle Man being the only one who hasn't come back to like congratulate Rigby. And he's just like at this sandwich shop because initially they were going to try and make Rigby a sandwich expert. And Muscle Man's just attacking this poor mascot, just trying to rip his sandwich off from him.
Off the bun, Bert! Take off the bun!
I thought that was a pretty great way to end the episode. It was really funny. Overall, definitely one of my favorites just in the entire series. It's just so good from beginning to end. Has so many great gags, great moments from Benson, great moments from Rigby. It's just a lot of fun. That's why it's going to earn the number 6 spot.
No! Whoa!
And coming in at number 5 is the episode The Postcard, and I was initially going to rank this a little bit lower on the list because honestly, it's just kind of average. But when you take into consideration that this episode is one of a kind, you have to rank it up a little bit higher. You want to know why? Because it's a high 5 ghost episode, and guess what? You want to know something crazy? 200 episodes, over 200 episodes. This is the only high 5 ghost episode in the entire show. Yes, he has kind of a main role in the dome experiment, but other than that, this is the only episode that is actually, you could say genuinely, is a high 5 ghost episode, and that's just crazy. I can't believe they didn't let him shine in his own episode that was all about him for the entire series. It's just crazy, because he is there from season 1. Like, how can you let this poor guy only get one episode that's all about him? And either way, it's honestly a pretty good episode. There's a lot to like about it. The episode is all about how High 5 Ghost met the love of his life many years ago, Celia. They bonded, they were great, they were all like, baby, you like this cassette tape? Me too. That's all they've been saying to each other all day. They're perfect for each other, but Celia is leaving to go study abroad, so they write on a little postcard that Celia is going to mail to him in 5 years, and if they're both still single, they will get together and love each other forever. Pretty good opening. I really enjoyed it. I like seeing High 5 Ghost actually do things other than be a background character, and so he eventually gets the postcard, but it's been so many years that this postcard is really destroyed. So Mordecai and Rigby and Muscle Man all have to go and help High 5 Ghost decipher this postcard. They go to the police station and they eventually meet the forensic analysis, and they know everything about this, and they just like busting people's chops. I enjoyed them a lot. I thought they were pretty funny in this episode. They just keep on roasting people the entire time and telling horrible jokes. But either way, I enjoyed them. I thought that they were pretty funny. So they just keep going around to pizza place after pizza place after pizza place, while the forensic people just keep trying to get more and more of this postcard deciphered, and they go everywhere, all over, and High 5 Ghost is just getting so distraught here. He just can't handle it. He needs himself some of that alt Celia ass, okay? He needs it bad.
No! Celia! Whoa!
He needs his ghost desires to be fulfilled in any way they could possibly be, and he eventually gives up because they can't figure it out. They've ran out of time. He goes to the final pizza place, and he sees that she isn't there. She already left. He missed his time. He missed meeting her on March 20th at 6 p.m. So he goes to just be sad, and that's when it turns out that Celia went to the same place to be sad, and they reunited, and they get together, and it's amazing. It's great for High 5 Ghost. And honestly, I enjoyed this episode a lot. It's just great to see High 5 Ghost come out of a supporting role and actually do something impactful in an episode, actually have his own episode about his desires, his wants, the things that he needs in life. And yeah, I'm very happy for him here. I'm just happy we got one of these episodes in the first place, because it truly is one of the kind, and in the Lost Tapes, we need at least 1 or 2 High 5 Ghost episodes. Give us anything. Give him a major role doing anything. I would just appreciate that so much.
And you'll never stunt in this park again, Mr. Hazard!
And coming in at number 4 is the episode The Heart of a Stuntman, and I honestly think this episode is so underrated. I never see anybody talk about it, not on any of their list of ranking all of the episodes, just nobody mentions it. And I think it is a underrated classic of regular show. The episode is all about preparing for Timmy's birthday party, who everyone at the park has been watching him grow up, watching him just become this little man, and they're all super pumped for his birthday party. But it just so happens that the stuntman for the party, when it is a stuntman themed party, cancels on them. So it's up to High 5 Ghost, Muscle Man, Mordecai, and Rigby to all go and attempt to get their stuntman license in order to save Timmy's birthday party. Amazing premise, amazing beginning. I enjoy it so much, and they eventually go there to get taught by their instructor, who is just this guy that has done so many stunts that he's a little bit mangled up, just a tad bit, but I enjoy him a lot. And I really like the first sequence of the first class where they're just like, okay, I'm gonna show you how to take a punch as a stuntman.
So are there any secrets?
And he just punches them all in the face like for real. I thought that was so funny. And then we just get this entire sequence of them learning how to be a stuntman, all of this awesome stuff. It's very enjoyable. And then we get to the final exam where they actually have to perform, and they actually have to perform all of these stunts, which don't even feel like stunts. They just feel like torture devices. But either way, they do it, and they just keep dropping men. High Five Ghost drops out. And then Mordecai drops out.
Sorry.
And we're down to Rigby and Muscleman. And honestly, they subverted my expectations a lot here because I thought it was just going to go down to either Rigby or Muscleman. But they actually both managed to finish it in just this awesome sequence where they go off a ramp, they're flying in the sky, and Muscleman actually read the textbook. Muscleman, of all people, was the one who got it done and activates his wingsuit and is able to land on the marker. And boom, Rigby and Muscleman both have their stuntman licenses. It's just so good. It's peak. And then we get this awesome ending where they all have broken bones. They're riding on the bike, Rigby and Muscleman, to do the stunt, and they just fall into the cake. And Timmy is just hyped about it because, I mean, come on, it's Timmy.
Make some noise! Happy birthday, Timmy!
We gotta love Timmy. And it's just such a good episode. It's so wholesome. I just like that they're all coming together just to have a good birthday party for this little kid. I love it so much. All of the stuff with Stuntman School was a lot of fun, and it's just definitely a underrated classic for me.
To pull this off.
Still think I'm a mama's boy?
And coming in at number 3 is the episode Thomas Fights Back. And I really like this episode because it just is a showcase of how amazing Thomas could have been if they would have given him time to shine, time to develop his character, time to make him into something interesting, because he delivered one of the best episodes of season 5, and I love it so much. The episode is all about how they're about to fire Thomas, but it just so happens when they're about to fire him, the main statue in the park of the park's founder gets stolen. Oh no, this is crazy, so they have to find a way to get it back, and nothing works. They try dressing up as aliens to like prank them into giving the statue back. Yeah, that doesn't work. And that's when we get to the main plot of the episode, which is going to be Thomas infiltrating them, shaving their head, and pretending to be a brand new worker at Jean's park. And right before that, we actually get a very interesting scene that just shows that Thomas could have been so cool. They could have made him this awesome cool guy where Muscleman is just making fun of him, saying that there's no way that he could possibly pull this off. And then Thomas just pulls like a jujitsu move on him, putting him into an arm bar. It's so cool. And he's like, "You still think I'm a mama's boy, Muscleman?"
To pull this off.
Still think I'm a mama's boy?
No, bro, I don't. And yeah, it's just so good. It's so awesome to see Thomas actually having an important role, and the rest of the episode is just basically all Thomas. We just get to watch Thomas do all this stuff in the park, gain Jean's trust, and I just enjoy it so much. And then we get to the actual meet, the actual night where they're going to steal back the statue, and apparently Thomas has been sabotaging everything there. The phone lines, the carts, the buildings, the power, everything, just so that he could get Mordecai, Rigby, and Muscleman into there, grab the statue, and take it all right under Jean's nose, and he barely notices, and they escape with the statue, and Thomas gets to keep his job at the park, all because of this awesome sequence, this awesome scene, the awesome thing that he was able to pull it off. And I just honestly enjoy this episode so much from beginning to end. I just like that Thomas actually got to shine, and I feel like it's a little bit of bias because of what happens to Thomas later on, that I just like it more because it's one of the only episodes that actually appreciates him as a character, all the way up until he becomes a goddamn Russian spy. And I feel like this was planting the seeds for Thomas being really cool so that they would be able to actually tell that story, because they were probably thinking about it in season 5, even though it eventually happened in season 6. But either way, it's a lot of fun. All of the sequences of Thomas in Jean's park, figuring them out, gaining their trust, and then all of the sabotages, all of the plan, it's just all so good and makes for such a entertaining episode from beginning to end. Definitely one of my favorites in this season.
It's not about stuffing or gravy. All the food is bonus. Now don't
don't you see?
And coming in at number 2 is the episode The Thanksgiving Day Special, and there are not a lot of forms of media that actually capture the true meaning of Thanksgiving when making a show about it. It's usually just gags about, turkey, 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 or, oh, look at all this food, let's eat all this food. None of it really focuses on the meaning of Thanksgiving, which is family and being thankful for what you have. A regular show did that so good and actually focuses on like comedy, fights, action, and just telling a great story while focusing on those core values. And that's why I think I like this episode so much. It all starts with Mordecai and Rigby playing foam football in the house because, I mean, football isn't allowed in the house, but if they use a foam ball, then it's okay. And of course, this is going to lead to a little bit of chaos because they throw the ball into the kitchen and destroy everything. Every single thing for Thanksgiving. And that's going to lead to the main plot of the episode. We have 3 main plots. It's going to be Mordecai and Rigby going to get a turducken by winning a songwriting contest for Thanksgiving, writing a theme song for Thanksgiving. Okay, that's pretty interesting. That's a good plot line. And then you have Benson, Pops, and Skips all going to the store to try to get a brand new turkey, and this leads to them battling a pilgrim, a Native American, and a guy dressed like a turkey over the last turkey in the store, and all of that is super enjoyable.
Your car?
Oh no, we're fine.
It's a lot of fun. We get some great car chase scenes, some great fights. I enjoyed that aspect a lot. And then you have Muscle Man going to a restaurant to get sides for Thanksgiving, and this leads to him making fun of this end zone football dancer, and he has to get into a dance battle with this guy. And they're just going up against each other. Brock Steppen versus Muscle Man, and Muscle Man is just hitting it, you know, just setting a letter, writing it, and then he like tears his groin. It's all really funny. It's so good.
For the full split!
I enjoyed that aspect of the episode a lot. And then the main plot is Mordecai and Rigby just going to sing that song, writing it, and that's when we get Chewing on Freedom, just a song that is written by corporate America that just captures all of those things that I talked about how Thanksgiving is just about the food, about just, you know, America, about all that stuff, and not focusing on anything else.
Where else but America can we feast on your meat?
And Mordecai and Rigby get there, and they're about to sing their horrible song that is just really ham-boating. That's all it's going to be. And that's when they get a call from Thomas saying that their families are not going to make it for Thanksgiving. So that's when they realize what Thanksgiving is truly all about and sing from their hearts. And I love the Thanksgiving song that they sing so much. It's just so good from beginning to end. It truly captures everything about Thanksgiving, and it will always be one of my favorite songs in all of Regular Show.
It's not about stuffing or gravy. All the food is bonus, now don't you see?
I don't know who wrote it. I'm assuming just all of the Regular Show staff, but they wrote such a banger song for this episode, and I love it so much. It makes Benson forgive them. It makes the whole world realize that they need to help Mordecai and Rigby, and that's when the villain of the episode, Rich Buckner, the guy who wrote the Chewing on Freedom song, steals the turducken anyway because he realizes that he's not going to win, so Mordecai and Rigby have to chase him, and they fight on the blimp, and everybody comes to help them take down the blimp. Mordecai and Rigby are able to jump out of it with the wishbone, save themselves, and wish for everybody to be there on Thanksgiving by breaking that wishbone. And yeah, that's the entire episode. It's a happy ending, and it's one of the best Thanksgiving episodes I have seen in any form of media, and you can't change my mind. It's just so good from beginning to end. Regular Show does not miss on any of its specials, and this is definitely one of the ones at the top and one of the best in season 5.
No more fear, no more bullying, no more clogbane.
And coming in at number 1, the best episode in Regular Show season 5 has to be Skip's story. It's emotional, it has great comedy, it has amazing fights, and it gives Skips a perfect origin story that explains how he became immortal, and I enjoy it so much. It is definitely the peak of season 5. I mean, you have Skips retelling the story of how he became immortal, and you actually get to watch him meet the woman that he loves, Mona, and their bond actually feels real compared to a lot of things that happen with relationships in the show. It feels so real. In just 20 minutes, you were actually able to see that they were forming a bond, connecting as people, falling in love in just a short amount of time, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the episode. It made you understand why Skips always skips, why he is the person that he is, and why he loved this woman so much. It honestly just makes so much sense. And then you have Clorgbane, the villain for this episode, and you actually get to learn why Clorgbane is in space, why he's fighting him every time he comes back 200 years. It's because Clorgbane Clorgbane is just a villain in every way. He was dominating the school, he was being evil, and eventually Skips and Mona go to prom. They're having a great time, they're dancing, and honestly a beautiful scene. And the scene honestly makes me sad when I watch it now because I know what's going to happen at the end of the episode. It's just so sad with just this moment in time just pausing where like the song Forever Young is playing in the background. They're just dancing, staring into each other's eyes, and it just hits you so much harder when you know what's about to happen with all of this stuff with Clorgbane, because it's just so sad, because this is like their final moments of bliss that they're ever going to have before Clorgbane enters there to fight Skips at their scheduled time. And Skips and Clorgbane go at it. Skips is trying to lay punches on him. Nothing is happening because Clorgbane is immortal, and you can't fight an immortal unless you have something from the gods, unless you have a special weapon. And Clorgbane is about to kill Skips, and that's when Mona jumps in the way. The weapon misses, but it hits the ceiling, and the ceiling debris falls onto Mona, and Mona dies right there. And it's honestly so sad. You have Skips just going ham on him now. He gets the fist of justice, just starts laying into him, beating the shit out of this monster who just killed his girlfriend. And then he sends Clorgbane into space with one uppercut. Clorgbane is just going to float in space for a really long time now, and everyone says that Mona is actually dead, and it's honestly just so sad. A couple of years go by, and Skips is eventually granted immortality to fight Clorgbane when he eventually returns from space. And it's so sad. There's so many moments in this episode that you just have to appreciate, especially like when Skips is picking up Mona for prom originally, and he's talking to his parents about keeping her safe, and just the worst thing a parent could ever imagine happens on that night with her dying. It just hits so hard. They had so many moments in this episode that just like lead to her dying that make you feel so bad for Mona, so bad for her family, and so bad for Skips. And you can completely understand why Skips has been skipping ever since then. I enjoyed that aspect so much. It gave such a good origin to Skips, and it's overall just an amazing episode with an amazing villain, some amazing fights, and it's just very emotional storytelling. That's why it earns the #1 spot on this list. And there you have it. That is every single episode of Regular Show Season 5, ranked from worst to best. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Season 5 of Regular Show, it had a lot more bad episodes compared to every other season that I've talked about so far. I would definitely put it at the bottom of the seasons that I've talked about. Just a lot of the episodes were just setups for other episodes, especially with all the romance stuff. At least in the other seasons, when it was a romance episode, it was like usually one contained single story that like finished, but all of these were just like, oh, let's make a building block to another episode, to another episode, to another episode, and sacrificing just one contained good episode. And I just didn't like that very much, because at this point in Regular Show, it wasn't really like one continuous story, but they were trying to make it one continuous story, and I wasn't a big fan of that. But overall, the episodes that were good were very good, and I enjoyed them a lot, and I had a lot of fun talking about them, and I'm glad that you made it this far into the video. And if you're still listening to me, then yeah, I appreciate you a lot, and we still got a lot more Regular Show to talk about and a lot more good videos on the way. So yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.